What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. It's actually Tuesday this time, so the Tactical Tuesday moniker actually makes sense. But we're continuing on another episode of Trevi Misreads 10th edition data sheets because we are over here on Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Super Faction. 6 factions today, so we're gonna lightning round some of these. I don't think we're gonna really spend too much time diving into every single one of them because there's too many data sheets to spend a ton of time on. But we will be just kind of rocking through these guys. Now I asked what faction we should start with, and it looks like a lot of people said Death Guard, so I think we will jump in on Death Guard first. And let's go. I can't wait to be wildly misinformed. That's why we're here, chat, right? Just oh no. Oh yeah, no, this works fine. I'm just here to ruin your chances in any competitive 40k event because your opponent will call you on your rules and then you'll be like, oops. But this YouTuber said that that's how that worked, and that is always correct. A YouTuber has never been wrong about a rule in the history of 40k. As far as I know, literally never misread anything. All right, let's dive in. So Death Guard, we know their special abilities. They have minus in toughness in an expanding aura, and they lock objectives in. They have objectives secured, which is great. Then they have a good, disgustingly resilient as a strat. +1 AP. And +2 AP on critical wounds, but only in range of infected objective markers. Are all of these within range of infected objective markers? They are. This one's weird. It's the target of the attack in range of an effective objective marker. That is not great. If they're in range of an objective marker, they will likely have taken it back from you. I guess you can use it in... No, it's only in your shooting phase. Oh, it's either fight phase. So you could use it in your opponent's fight phase to get +1 AP on their turn before they steal their objective marker map. But they can uninfect objective markers at the end of any turn, right? Yeah, at the start of the turn. So you could theoretically get the improved version. I think most often if your opponent charges onto an objective and you get the benefit. It kind of feels like, at least based on the stuff we saw previously, that's kind of Death Guard's intended play pattern, is you run a bunch of dudes onto an objective, lock it in, and then your opponent charges you and then you kill them. But I don't know. That's hyper reactive playstyles like that never seem to be that good. It gets sustained hits 1 or 2. Gifts of Decay. Regenerate D3 lost wounds. Flat 3 if you're in range of an objective. Locked objective. That's okay. That's a fine strat. And Death Guard unit can get heavy and ignore cover. I mean, ignore cover is solid. That's basically just +1 AP. So for 2 CP, you can basically just double your armor penetration characteristic. Or double buff it, at least. And then Cloud of Flies, you gain stealth. So this is like a mini version of the demon one that also makes you untargetable, right? Is that right? Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Stealth is okay, I guess. Living Plague, you get 3 inches to your auras. When enemy is within contagion range, they fail a battle shock check. They take D3 mortal wounds. What a crock of garbage. Okay. +1 strength and attack, +2 on range of an effective objective marker. This is just like the template for offensive enhancements now. I don't know where my mouse goes. I'll just use my Illustrator. This is like the template for offensive enhancements now. +1 strength and attack, +2 in a special situation, and then Shamble Rot is -2 to enemy charge rolls, which is good. So these two seem fine. We'll have to see some auras for Living Plague, though, which we haven't really seen before. After they slowly drip us up, the fire hose of data sheets is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, at one point, like, at some point, you're right, you just gotta do it. You gotta rip that band-aid off. It would have been kind of cool if they had, like, one day done a preview and then the next day, like, release all the data sheets or something. I don't know, but... Death Guard Demon Prince. Interestingly, their auras affect contagion range. It's super cute. And the Winged Demon Prince forces battle shock checks. Do they both get devastating wounds? No, this guy just has the buff ability. That's pretty good, though. That's a solid... That's an okay buff. That's something, at least. Mr. Typhus. Melee attacks get -1 to hit. Yeah, we've seen his data sheet before. The old Chaos Lord. At the end of the turn, enemy units on a 4+ suffer D3 mortal wounds. That's alright. If you can get a bunch of people in there. You just orbital strike them every turn, basically. Do they all do that? Boring. We've seen the Lord of Virulence before. Blight Bombardment's pretty cool. Interesting to note, it's different than the Land Speeder ability, because the Land Speeder ability picks a target, and the Lord of Virulence hits everything. You're always getting +1 to hit and ignore cover against units in his line of sight, not targeting one model and getting it, or one enemy unit. Lord of Contagion. Each time this model loses a wound on a 4+, the closest enemy within engagement range of that model suffers 1 wound. Who cares? So you might do 3. Okay. Reroll hit roll in melee is good, though. Only melee, though. At least they can jump in Terminators, unlike the Tallyman. The Terminator Sorcerer. At the start of the fight phase, grants -1 damage, not against shooting. Eat your heart out, Death Guard. Deathwing Knight's just more tanky than you are. Once per battle after selecting the targets for a psychic weapon, improve the strength and damage characteristics by 2. So it's a once per game. You can either make his force weapon strength 8, D3 +2 damage, or his Curse of the Leper strength 8, 3 damage. It's alright, I guess. Clear out some Gravis armored guys. The Plague Caster we've seen. Plague Marines we've seen. I guess a lot of this stuff is... These are largely going to be data sheets that we've seen before because we've already seen them. Death Guard Cultists have a 6-inch scout move. That's kind of cute. You can take it up to 20. How many grenade launchers can you take? 2? Grenade launchers are alright. Pox Walkers. Oh, we are a little bit zoomed in here. My, yeah, waiting for points cost with bated breath. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time on Friday for sure. Does anyone like have some cheeky plans to get some games in? I don't know if I want to get some games in person, or maybe I'll just like stream all Saturday or something, and we'll just play a ton of games over on the Discord. Once we have all points, like full points, basically full missions, and just dive in. It's gonna be awesome this weekend. You know, we're all everything but like designer commentary, I guess, is all we have. So we'll have like 99.8% of the game, which will be awesome. Well, Typhus is leading the unit. Enemy models destroyed as a result of Typhus's Eater play count as enemy models destroyed by an attack made by this to return one destroyed Poxwalker to the unit. And they have a 5+ Feel No Pain at T4. All right. Their weapon sucks, though. Oh, my God. Weapon skill 5, lethal hits. And Typhus doesn't buff them, right? He just gives them -1 to be hit in melee. I guess he's, like, trying to make them harder to kill so that, like... Well, I guess he also regenerates Poxwalkers, but they're almost 100% a tar pit. It doesn't look like they're actually going to do damage themselves. Hope they're cheap. That is not a good profile right there, unfortunately. Mr. Blightbringer, reroll advance and charge. All right, that's something. Is he a Plague Marine guy? He sure is. And you can force Battle Shock or leadership checks taken. So you could combo him with the Chaos Lord that like nukes you for failing Battle Shock. Is it the... Or it's not the Lord, right? It's an enhancement. Yeah. But it's only contagion range. Yeah, I don't know. That's too much work for D3 Mortal Wounds. Just take Foul Blight Spawn, honestly. That's like kind of a nothing ability. Reroll Advance and Charge is okay, but I wish it was just like a movement buff. The Putrefier. Ooh, Hyper Blight Grenades. Not even just a regular Blight Grenade, the Hyper Blight Grenade. Weapons that have lethal hits. Oh, weapons have lethal hits. Don't they all already have lethal hits? What? I guess it's the special weapons in a Plague Marine squad that doesn't. So like plasma guns and melta guns is basically everything that's missing it. It's not a particularly exciting ability because he's a Plague Marine guy, yeah. And then you critical hit on 5s. I mean, that's fine, I guess. And he gets a 0 CP strategy, grenade strat. Tough to source rerolls, it feels like, because the Tallyman's +1. He doesn't give rerolls. So he doesn't really interact with the critical hits at all to trigger lethal hits more often. Plague Surgeon we've seen. Blightlord Terminators we've seen. Deathshot Terminators we've seen. The Hellbrute. If he has 2 fists, he gets reroll wounds. Each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, selects one enemy unit that was hit. That's considered to be in contagion range. That is not a good ability. What the fuck? If a Hellbrute... Oh, I guess it's when it shoots you. Oh, okay. Actually, no, that's a fine ability. In my head, that was fighting only. But so it means you can take a Twin Las Cannon and plink somebody with it and just reduce their toughness by 1. And then also like trigger all your other abilities off them. All right, I'll buy that. I'll buy that for $1, actually. That's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good rule. What were the Entropy Cannon strength again? They're strength 10. So they, at that point, if you plink somebody with a Hellbrute, your Entropy Cannons actually start wounding them on wounding T11 on 4s. Like we're talking a little bit. That's kind of nice. I like it. All right, Death Guard Hellbrute, you can stay. Chaos Spawn regenerates in each player's command phase. That's super cute. Plus, it has a 5+ Feel No Pain. Adorable. I love this guy. He's so cute. They couldn't fit the Twin Fist. Well, this is the Twin Linked Fists is that's what they've been doing for most of the double melee weapons. Like once we looked through in the Space Marine video yesterday, they That's what most of the combat dreadnoughts had, right? Where they would get the double fist one would just get twin linked. That's kind of to be expected. Mephitic Blight Haulers we've seen before. It's actually a pretty good combo with -1 toughness and +1 to wound. They get +2 to wound effectively against a lot of vehicle profiles. Fetid Bloat Drone we've seen. Plagueburst Crawler we've seen. Land Raider. Just a regular Land Raider. They have Soul Shatter Las Cannons, which are exactly the same as Godhammers. Could have just called them a Godhammer, but no. I guess they're like worshipping gods. They're not hammering them. And then all of the vehicles are the same, it looks like. Yeah, this is the same that we've already seen on the other. Or I guess we saw this on the Soul Grinder, right? But I don't know if we saw it on the Defiler. Does it have a regular battle cannon? Yeah, strength 10, AP 1, 3 damage on the turret weapon. And can get a Plague Heavy Bolter, lethal and sustain. Whoa! So crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it has 8 attacks, 5 at strength 16, AP 3, D6 +1 in melee. And then 12 at strength 12, AP 1, 2 damage. That's pretty good. 8-inch move and ignores a lot of stuff for movement. Also fine. The problem is that base, that big base. Or the big footprint. Not actually a base, I should say. Mortarion we've talked about in the past. Death Guard Icon Bearer, +1 OC. Once per battle, you can have a contagion range of 12. That's also pretty good. Does that mean they receive buff from being 12 inches away from people, or they only debuff enemies? Well, enemy is within contagion range. Subtract 1. So, for example, if you use the 12-inch contagion, this is a hypothetical, chat. If you use the 12-inch contagion aura once per game from the Icon Bearer, and that unit is 12 inches away from a demon prince, do they get the 6+ feel no pain? Are they within contagion range of this model, or is this model within contagion range of them? I feel like they would get the feel no pain, right? Like, that just makes sense. Now, can he be taken alongside someone else? Can we trigger him alongside the other friends that have additional contagion range benefits? We can. All of the Hellbrutes get a glow up? That's good to know. Yeah, especially since I think some of the Dreadnought varieties are like fucking nuts, so Redemptors are crazy. Some of the melee varieties we've seen have been crazy. Like Death Company Dreadnought's Murderfang are insane. That like double, triple attack rule is fucking wild. I almost like I wouldn't be shocked if that gets a nerf, just like out of principle, because GW hates double attack abilities. So what checks contagion range? Is there like some funky stuff you can do with that, like rapid egressing that unit and then giving it a huge contagion range? You could like the Death Guard Chaos Lord nukes every turn for D3 mortals. So he's just a Moloch if you egress him with the Banner Bearer guy. Except he works on both turns. So he hits you on you can like egress hit your opponent on their turn and then do it again on the end of your turn. That actually I think does start to stack up. Also, you can make it 15 inches. If Mortarian's there. Unnecessary, but very funny. But that's all you can do? That's boring. Yeah, I guess it's just like sticking with a Chaos Sword and a bunch of Plague Marines. Maybe that's fine. Plus one OC seems okay, I guess, but... this does feel like a points thing. If you can spam Plague Marines really hardcore, it seems like they're really pushing Plague Marines super hard because of all of the Fetid Varian guys that sink into them. But it doesn't feel like, I don't know, they'd have to be, the price has to be right on them. Because they don't feel super tanky. And I guess, like, I mean, the gun line's okay. Like, their shooting is solid. Especially with those Hellbrutes, being able to debuff people that they shoot at. But it's not Space Marine solid. It's not even close. Well, the Death Guard unit is wholly within 6 inches. Ugh. These do have Infiltrator, so that's good. That's kind of a tacit confirmation that fortifications don't have special setup rules. They have to have the Infiltrator ability to go ahead of your army, which is pretty clean. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model. If it's not fully visible because of the fortification, it gets cover. All right. Well, an enemy unit is only within engagement range of one or more fortification units. That unit can still be selected as a target. Yeah. Well, they just give like a situational -1, and then they have like a shitty flamer. I guess they themselves grant auras. They grant the contagion aura, so that's something, but yeah, I don't know. Just blow it up, I think, if you need to. The question is, how does the other... Because this is... The Malignifier is actually like 4 different pieces, right? It's like the little furnace, the big thing itself, and then there's like pipes and piping. How do you set that up? I guess it's all touching, maybe. It just counts as one entity. It's a little confusing. I don't know if I like that. Sad. The orbital strikes on a 4+? Yeah, but you can like... I mean, if you're really like finagling it, you can hit a bunch of stuff, and then it like double hits. So really, you should hit everything for D3 over the course of the game, over the course of the battle round, because you do it twice. Literal 0 compared to Deathwatch or Dark Angels. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare to Space Marines, honestly. Like, the Space Marine index is so fucking nuts. This is kind of a discussion we were having in the chat. It's like, I mean, you almost can't compare yourself to Space Marines because the Space Marines are so insane. I would be shocked if we saw anything like even close to the power level of Death Guard, for sure. What are we doing next, chat? Cool if you could use the pipes to spread coherency. Or if it had, like, multiple profiles, right? If it had, like, 3, like, small little profiles. So you could use it to spread contagion and the cover effect. And then, like, when people shoot at it, it actually, like, you start breaking the pipes open until you blow up the big furnace. All right, we got one for Thousand Suns. Feels like the core rules were written for Space Marines. I mean, they always write the core rules for Space Marines. Like, you could see it pretty clearly in the last edition because a lot of the rules were baked around like 5 model, combat squads or whatever. Let's see. Where are the tournaments banning Space Marines? Right? That was why that announcement was so stupid. You're like, yeah, Eldar's probably overpowered, but also, so are Space Marines, and also probably some other shit's gonna be overpowered. Let people play their overpowered stuff for like a week, and then we decide to ban it. We don't need to do it right off the bat. You're just gonna make like a weird imbalance, like artificial metagame. Anyway, I already made a video about that, and I said my piece. It sounds like a lot of events are like taking a little bit more of a slow approach. I think especially after the the kind of backlash to that announcement. Ultimately, I don't know. I think people were kind of just nipping that news in the bud, where they were just like, "This is silly. People shouldn't do this to their events." But ultimately, like 180 person GT isn't gonna like define the meta game. It's just a funny piece of news. All right, we got a World Eaters, Chaos Knights, another 1,000 Suns, Chaos Space Marines, another 1,000 Suns, another World Eaters, another World Eaters, another Worried Eaters. Close enough. All right, we'll do World Eaters. Let's go. Maybe we could just bang out all the Cult Marines. All right. So they have their army rule. So as a refresher, you roll 8d6. And if you roll any doubles, you can use you spend those to purchase an ability. If it's any number, so a 1 or a 2 or any higher number, you can get +2 movement and enhanced feel no pain. And if it is 3 or higher, you can get sustain. 4 or higher, you can get fight on death. 5 or higher, you can get lethal hits. And they apply to your army to the end of the battle. If you get double 6s or triple 4+, you get advance in charge, which apparently, according to the people I talked to, is actually super likely. Now, the wording is kind of like weird because it kind of, and on one hand, almost makes it feel like you don't spend the dice, but I think you do, right? Oh, they give you oh, it's Ash. What's up, Ash? They use their 2 6s, yeah, and the 6s leave the pool. I'm glad they give examples. The examples clean things up. So you do spend them and then they disappear and you don't have to think about them ever again. You also get +1 strength and attacks when you charge, so you're just Blood Angels. So that's cool. All right, so keep that in mind. It's just charging, right? Not is charged. Yeah, made a charge move this turn. Very nice. All right. Let's see. If you made a charge move, you can force enemies within 6 to take a battle shock check. And if they're affected by the stratagem, they don't need to take any other battle shock checks for the same phase. Weird. Oh, in your opponent's next command phase. Each enemy within 6. If you killed someone, takes a battle shock check. So then they become immune to battle shock for the remainder of the phase? That's terrible. What a awkward and mad stratagem. All right. If you could force, like, if you could double up people's battle shock because you half killed them and then killed something next to them, and there's like a really reasonable chance they fail, then it's fine. But 1 battle shock and then you're fine is like kind of stupid. Blood for the Blood God. Make a Blessings of Corn roll. You can use the results to activate 1 blessing. Does not count to your maximum number of blessings. Is there a maximum number of blessings? 2? 2 blessings. So you can either make yourself super fast or hit really hard. You can't do both. Eventually you run out of dice too, I imagine. But I guess you don't want that situation where you're all like 1 1 2 2 3 3 like 6 6. You just do everything. For the Skull Throne, +1 to wound characters, monsters, or vehicles. Solid. That's a great stratagem. Love that. It's not even Lance, by the way. You don't have to charge to activate your +1 to wound. You just get it. Eat your heart out, Space Marines. Y'all have to charge to get your +1 to wound. Get absolutely wrecked. Corn cares not. 1 World Eater's unit from your army selected as the target of an enemy attack in the fight phase. -1 damage. Okay. Why would? It's a weird. So that's a weird stratagem to be in World Eaters. Blood Offering. Yeah, this is when someone dies. You can lock in the objective marker they're on. That's a great stratagem. That's incredibly strong. An Apoplectic Frenzy, your movement phase. When they advance, they auto 6. So you could if you can turn on advance and charge, you can auto 6 them and then get insane threat ranges. It feels like this is the threat range. The threat somehow the long threat range faction is Khorne, I guess. Double 6 or triple 4 is a 50-50. But what's the chances of getting that and another double is the question. I think you run out. Is there a stratagem that lets you unleash your cat? I don't think you need to spend CP for that one. Usually you have to spend treats. That's like you spend actual abilities. Khorne stole -1 damage while Nurgle wasn't looking. Yeah, I thought Khorne and Nurgle were supposed to be best buds. They're like buddy buddy. What is this? Maybe they're sharing. Khorne was like, now that I don't have blood tithe, my model's dying makes me sad. And Nurgle's like, don't worry, Khorne. Just like stroking him on the back of his head. Don't worry, I'll give you -1 damage in melee so it doesn't happen as often. And you don't have to be sad that your guys die. Favorite of Khorne. Before making a Blessings of Khorne roll, you can discard all the dice from the roll and make a new Blessings of Khorne. Oh, sick. You could just audible. It's not once per game, right? It's just each time, yeah. You can just audible your Blessings of Khorne. Solid. Lock it in. That's great. I bet it seems like Blessings of Khorne may be very reliable. If you just get two rolls and like then reroll your with icons. Berserker Glaive. +1 attack and damage. Each time you end a charge move, roll a d3, end of the turn, the results to the attacks and damage instead. Jesus. Okay, it's also great. Battle Lust. You can heroically intervene for free. It's alright. And then have damage. These two look good. Mr. Angie Boy himself. So it's been so long since the World Eaters faction reveal. I don't remember what this guy does. Every time you make a Blessings of Khorne roll, if you roll 666s, you can drop him back in reserve. That's a little bit tough. So your charge phase, select 1 Wrathful Presence ability, +1 to hit, or +1 to charge, +1 attack, below starting strength, and reroll hit rolls. But awkwardly not reroll hit rolls in shooting, only melee, because it activates any charge phase. Or at least not your first shooting phase, because then you get it until your next turn. It's your charge phase, right? Not the charge phase. Yeah, your charge phase. I mean, reroll hits is strong either way. Reroll hits or +1 attack either way, it's good. So you're probably taking it. Mr. Karn, what a great guy. Karn, what a guy. Well, he's letting a unit reroll 1s to hit and wound. Okay. Solid. Love that. At the end of your charge phase, you must take a leadership check if he's not in engagement range. If the test is failed, he kills someone. Ah, that is fluffy. That's very good. What does he join? Just Berserkers. So you lose a Berserker occasionally. But realistically, you're putting him in a transport, right? So he's not on the battlefield at the end of your charge phase. So probably doesn't really matter, actually. But that's adorable. I love that. If it's destroyed by a melee attack, if it has not fought, do not remove it from play. It can fight after the attacking model has finished making its attacks and is then removed. And he's 8 attacks, strength 6, AP2, 3 damage. So really, he goes to strength 7, 9 attacks on the charge. So he's wounding on 5s, but his high volume is enough to like clip somebody, I think. He's wounding most vehicles and stuff on 5s, is what I should say. I like Karn. Invocatus gives a 6-inch scout move, not an 11-inch scout move. Thank you, Invocatus, and it's screedable now. Up to 2 friendly World Eaters units within 6 get scout. Solid. While he's leading a unit, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. It probably doesn't matter. Interestingly, he can join 8-bound, and he's moved 12. Or Khorne Berserkers. And he's moved 12, so he just doubles their movement speed. Lost fly, though. No! Invocatus! Your bull doesn't fly over terrain anymore. What's up with that? Cool Demon Prince model. Does this come out of the new kit? I like this guy. He's like a big ape. Friendly World Eaters infantry units within 6 get a 4+ invulnerable save. What the fuck? Alright. I guess 8-bound, which is the unit you're really excited about, already have an invulnerable save, so it's only really like a small improvement. But you compare that to the Death Guard Demon Prince, it's like, I get a 6+ feel no pain. Doesn't feel quite as impactful as a 4+ invulnerable save. He gets devastating wounds on the charge. He has strength 10, so he has like that Mark of Khorne from Demons baked in, essentially, because normally their Hellforged axe is strength 8. Strength 10 is good. Strength 10 is like the profile that I start looking at people at. And I guess he goes to strength 11 on the charge with 7 attacks. So I actually like this guy. He seems pretty solid. Forces Battle Shock with the wings. And at the start of the battle, he can swear against a foe. And he rerolls the hit roll and the wound roll against that one. Interestingly, it affects all attacks. It also works in his gun. It's kind of cute, but yeah, I mean, that's fine, I guess. That move 12, the new fly makes that move 12 not feel quite as long as it did in the last edition, because you have to keep him behind, like start him behind cover. He's not like the chaos, the Chaos Demons Demon Prince that's like probably invincible if he's for at least one turn. If he just goes to a 3+ invul and is -1 to be hit, that dude, if he's out in the open, will just get shot and die. World Eater's Juggernaut Lord. Reroll any advance, charge, or blood surge rolls. It's a lot of additional movement, potentially. And he is on a Juggernaut. It's interesting that the Juggernaut Lords just join regular units. Whoa! Master of Executions. While he's leading a unit, models in the unit have the Fight First ability. Fuck me. Holy shit. Okay. Reroll hits and wounds against characters. He's precision and devastating wounds. But he doesn't have to hit the character to do that. He rerolls against the whole unit. Whoa! Master of Executions. Holy shit, my guy. This guy seems great. I don't know if you can hear that. Inky's off in the corner somewhere, howling. Units move at the speed of the slowest model. No, models, unless I missed something in the core rolls. Oh, what was that? Unless I missed something in the core rolls, models just still treat their movement individually. So a move 12 model inside a move 6 unit, that one model is going to move 12 inches with the rest of the unit move 6. So he basically just gets more optionality, but he can't leave engaged or like can't leave coherency. So he can like run around corners and stuff and use all that movement to do so, but he's still kind of like leashed by the unit. But it does increase their threat range, just not by 6 inches, by usually like 3 or 4 inches, basically. Because he can lead the unit. So like, you know, you'd say you start your unit of Khorne Berserkers, right, on the line, and then you have your big Juggernaut Lord, and the Berserkers move 6, and the Juggernaut Lord moves 12. So you have actually gotten yourself a couple of additional movement. Yeah, I'm just in the movement phase section here. I'm gonna just to ensure myself I'm gonna make sure that there's no like random new rules about movement. Yeah, so it's when a unit makes a normal move, each model in the unit moves a distance in inches less than or equal to its movement value. So models always check their own movement value. They're never constrained by the other models in the unit. But you have to keep in mind, right? Especially for these mounted characters, they have the mounted keyword. They're not infantry. So some things to keep in mind is like if you have a ruin and you put the Khorne Berserkers in the ruin, the Lord still has to go around the edge of the ruin, whereas the Khorne Berserkers can go through. So a lot of times the faster movement, because they're more restricted on where they can go, their faster movement actually doesn't feel quite as powerful as you'd kind of expect it to. Is this a 12-hour stream? I think we're making good progress on the stream. We're already one faction down, chat. We're only like 40 minutes in, and we're already like 1.5 factions in. This one's going to be fast. Invocatus being a really big model also adds a lot to threat. That's a good point, for sure. And honestly, like that interaction is actually a little bit stronger. Like the example I gave previously, right, where the unit's up here and the Lord starts behind them is much easier in 10th edition now because you can move through the intervening models. So the Lord could just jump through the guys that he's behind. So because he's going to be restricted on his maximum movement by coherency, you can actually just deploy him behind the rest of the unit and then jump him out in front, and you don't have to worry about the order in which you move your models. I mean, that honestly, that might have been a concession to the new leader abilities, where you can now have tons of situations where you have a faster leader join a slower unit, and it would have been kind of a nightmare to have to work through that if you couldn't move through your own models. But I think it does make it pretty interesting. A winged prime and a unit of Tyranid warriors can do that thing where you're escorting someone slower than you. Yes. But then you'd have to play Tyranid warriors, though, and that's, like, kind of sad. Hi, Inky. You want to come talk about World Eaters? Get up here, you girl. You coming up? No? She doesn't want to hang out with you, chat. Come hang out with chat. No? All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed Inky's cameo in my video today. She would not leave me alone yesterday when I was recording, so she just ended up in the video. Anyway, Master of Execution seems fucking nuts. I guess he doesn't have like a fetid variant or a lieutenant ability, so he doesn't go in with another lord. But he's just sitting there with a big brick, a huge brick of fight first. You can like put him in a land raider or something, right? So he can't be shot at in the way in, and then if your opponent doesn't kill them in shooting, they just sort of uninteractable. Khorne Berserkers themselves, we've already seen. I guess they also have the Blood Surge move too, right? So they can potentially sort of lock themselves into combat multiple turns. You get to reroll 1 dice if they're in range of an objective marker you control when you make your Blood Tithe roll, or your Blessings of Khorne roll, excuse me. Oh, Jackals have objective secured and can take an Icon of Khorne. Hell yeah, Jackals. That is some support, some sweet support abilities. I like that they ravaged it. They ravage it, they don't secure it. That's cute. Big base models are weirdly good because of how many models you can get in base to base. That is a good point, too. Yeah. Because you have to fight through larger bases, you definitely get a huge advantage from having those big bases. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is that it can kind of restrict your combat movement, though, a little bit, because if you're leading with the big character is often forced to get base to base first, and then sort of like prevents a lot of other models from completing their combat moves. The fight phase is just kind of a trip in 10th edition. The required base to base rules are just, I don't think were a very, very good idea. There's a lot of situations where they create like bizarre, just super weird circumstances where like suddenly your units get in the way of each other and they prevent each other from attacking because they have to be base to base and then they have to move base to base. It's very stupid. I don't think they are well thought through, but it is what it is. Spent 2 days in March deciding what melee weapons to give your demon prince, and then it turns out they're all the same. Yeah, for sure. Ripperonis. Terminators. Get +1 to hit below starting strength, +1 to wound below half, so they just have a grim demeanor. No, like, double fight. No red butchers, right? Red butchers are just gone. They're just a higher base strength than regular Terminators, though, right? That's actually sick. Hold up. So not only do they get their subfaction or their detachment roll, where they're +1 strength and attacks on the charge, they're higher base strength too. So their power fists are strength 9, strength 10 on the charge. Whoa. Okay. With 4 attacks each. Damn. What are these Terminators? Slap. 8 bound. Reroll wound rolls of 1 within 6. And you get full reroll against enemies that are below half strength. Is that what the Terminators do, or are they themselves? Makes an attack +1 if its unit. So Terminators check themselves. 8 bound check enemies. Kind of weird, but alright. Pick a lane, World Eaters. The Champions Lacerators can get replaced with the Chain Glaive. I don't know if that Chain Glaive profile is not that great. The Lacerators are sweet, though. Strength 10 AP. So there'll be 5 attacks, strength 10 AP, 3 damage, which is good. And the little guys are up to strength 6. High volume, but not quite as dangerous as we saw them previously. And a 6-inch scout move baked in. So I guess we're not that worried about Invocatus anymore if our infantry base 6-inch scout. Well, I guess the Exalted don't, so that's good. They force people to stay in engagement range if they on a failed leadership check. And then the unit has Eviscerators and Chain Fists. And you can take paired Chain Fists or a Chain Glaive. Man, the Chain Glaives, whatever. The paired Chain Fists are fucking nuts, though. So everybody's 3 attack, strength 14, EP3, 2 damage, and the paired Chain Fists are 5 attacks, twin linked. That's some armor cracking right there, my guys. That's pretty good. Fluffy, that World Eaters want everyone dead? Yeah, they're like, Corn cares not for which unit is below starting strength, only that one of them is. Yeah, these guys seem sweet. What can we fit inside? 8 bound and Exalted 8 bound take 2. So you can put 6 8 bound inside of Land Raider. Seems good. The real question is delivering these units, I think, right? Because I don't think like a 6-inch scout move is going to help. Invocatus doesn't increase your movement value anymore, right? So, like, you're basically all in on transports. Yeah, you can just fall back, shoot, and charge. It's kind of whatever. So I think you're just really playing the transport game. And I don't know. We'll see if transports are good enough. It kind of feels like you want to be a short-range shooting unit coming out of a transport, not a melee unit, but we'll see. It does seem like Land Raiders are kind of a must-have. I didn't even check. Notice the Terminator's movement. What makes the Terminators faster, chat? What am I missing? Is it a character attachment? You can give them rerolls. No. Who joins Terminators? Is anybody? Nobody joins Terminators. Oh, I think. Oh, you just mean the blood tie, the blessing of Khorne? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. I guess that's fine. Sorry, I thought there was a data sheet ability I was missing. No, yeah, that affects everything though, right? So like, you kind of want threat ranges to be compounded. So on the 8-bound, like making the 8-bound move 11 advance and charge is really good. Getting it on like a move 7 Terminator is fine, but I think it does feel like kind of the 8-bound show. Unless 8-bound are really expensive and Terminators are really cheap. Who knows? But it's kind of hard to compare. Like, these guys get a combi weapon, which is kind of cute, but they don't have like big shooting. So the guns for the most part don't really matter. They sweep infantry, but I don't think you're having problems sweeping infantry with this army. So you're like, hey, I have like 3 strength 10 AP 2 damage, and then exalted 8-bounds. Like, that's cute. My attack is strength 14 and I like AP 3. Yeah. I don't know. Defilers is the same as the other Defiler. These are Predators. Forge Fiends. Enemy infantry must take battle shock that you shoot at. That's fine also. Eight-bound move 21 inches on the first turn before charging. If you roll a 6, right? They move. I guess they move, what do they move? 11 plus 6. They move 17. If assuming you don't have advance and charge active. Which is fine, but you're assuming that they don't have any infiltrators, right? So opponents' infiltrators will restrict your scout moves because you can put the 8-bound down, and then your opponent just puts a scout unit 9 inches in front of them, and I guess you charge that unit, but it means that the 8-bound don't get into your army on turn 1. I think the play pattern. I mean, that's exactly how they worked in 9th edition, right? The play pattern's identical. You're just not tied to Invocatus anymore. So you're there like, hey, charge this unit, like this idiot unit on objective, but then they don't like take up blood tithe points and get like blood drenched objectives anymore. So they just like charge your idiot dumbass like infiltrator unit and then consolidate forward, and then you shoot them and they die. So I think ultimately like it's actually tougher to engage. They threat farther, but the turn 1, specifically the turn 1 engagement, feels tougher for me. I don't know if that's entirely the how it works, but that's kind of just my gut feeling about it. Blessing adds +2. Yeah, that's why they move 17, right? Because they go 9 base +2 inches for the blessing after a 6-inch move to begin with, right? And that's just regular 8-bound, to be fair. You can sit the 8-bound in the Raider, scout the Raider, and jump out. I don't believe you can do that, right? Because is the Raider dedicated? I doubt it. Yeah, not dedicated. So you don't get the scout move on the Land Raider. Only on Rhinos, which we don't see. Oh, here he is. Can you hold 8-bound? No. Wrecked, yeah. I don't think there's a way to scout move the Rhino, right? Because the Berserkers don't have it base, and they're the only thing that can go in. Unless the Jackals do. Do the Jackals scout? Where you at, Jekylls? No. Only randomly Death Guard cultists, I guess. Kind of weird. Does Angron have towering? No. He is hidden by terrain. He's a little bit slower than he was, and fly kind of sucks now. But he can hide behind buildings, which is great. He can actually fold his wings now. He's not doesn't just constantly do a cool hero pose over the top of a building and shot by laser beams. Anyway, I'm interested to see how Death Guard or how World Eaters work, chat. I do think that they seem less powerful than they did in 9th edition, because in 9th edition, like, so much of their game plan was about having themselves be killed to score points. And without that play pattern, they're entirely about hitting your opponent and engaging them. And this edition does feel a little bit toxic to melee, but they could be cheap as fuck, so who knows? Ooh, the Core Lord of Skulls. Each time you make a Blessings of Corn roll for each enemy unit destroyed by this model, the previous battle round, add or subtract 1 to one of the dice rolled. Oh, that's cute. I like that. And what does it start with? It has 1 Gore Storm and can replace that with something else, and then gets a Hades Gatling Cannon or a Skull Hurler. So the Gore Storm's D6 plus 3. It's a AP2 battle cannon. The Demon Gore is only 18-inch range. D6 shots for D6 plus 2 damage. It's like a big laser beam. Or a Skull Hurler, which is longer range, but higher strength than AP, and, like, I guess theoretically less average shots. It's more the same average shots or more. The Skull Hurler seems like the way to go here, honestly. Just higher stats. Just its stats are better. But it costs a lot. Oh, that's instead of the Gatling Cannon, excuse me. Yeah. Or Skull seems fine. I guess you kind of want the high volume weapons because you want to kill, like, random chaff infantry with this thing, and so that you can trigger the Blessed Slaughter. Is the Destructor Predator autocannon rapid fire? We can find out. It is not. But there's actually just fires 4 times. Does the Space Marine one do that? It does. And it gets 6 at rapid fire range. That might be a typo. Because otherwise it's the same profile. Yeah. That might be a typo. There's a couple of those, like, transposition errors. Like the Wolf Scouts we talked about yesterday, like, randomly are 1 wound instead of 2. I think some stuff just didn't get copy pasted over. Or, like, they were, like, making final changes or something to the documents before and hadn't really, like, gotten them everywhere. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if that gets updated. The Thousand Suns one was rapid fire too? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if, like, I don't think you're playing a World Eater's gunline, to be fair, so I don't know if Predators are that exciting. Ranged attacks in the previous codex were great with World Eaters, but less so now. All right, we went through World Eaters. What's next, chat? Let's discuss. Tank Shock with the Lord of Skulls seems fun. Yeah, for sure. Now, I don't think the Lord of Skulls... Well, I guess it's an open question whether it triggers its ability if you kill somebody with a Tank Shock. Is that the Lord of Skulls destroying them? Or is that the Tank Shock stratagem destroying them? It just says destroyed by this model. It doesn't say destroyed by an attack or something, so it's a little bit questionable. You probably count, but that might need an FAQ. We got, let's see. Chaos Space Marines, Thousand Suns, Chaos Knights, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Knights again. So everybody's tied on 2. Thousand Suns again, Thousand Suns again, Thousand Suns again. All right, Thousand Suns. I guess we did say we wanted to do all of the cult Marines first, right? Okay, let's do it. This is where I keep running into issues. I zoom in extra distance on the army abilities, and then I don't zoom out for the data sheets. So, yeah, we have all of their Cabal of Sorcerers abilities.
In the core rules for 10th edition, it says models with a SV of 3+ don't get the benefits of cover if the attack has no app. Think it'll matter?
No app. Thanks, text-to-speech. SD, thanks for the super chat. I do think that it matters. And unfortunately, I do think that it makes a 3+ save actually kind of statistically like the worst saving throw you can have. Because it means that you get less of an impact from cover, but you'll still like sort of pay premium points for them, I imagine. I think honestly, here's something I wouldn't be shocked to see happen in the first couple rounds of erratas. I wouldn't be shocked to see a save of 3+ or better doesn't benefit from cover, because a 2+ in cover right now is like the cover's so easy to obtain in this edition. You basically always have cover unless your opponent is you're right out in the open, your opponent's shooting at you. And a 2+, the bridge between a 3+ save and a 2+ save with cover is like wild. So it's like 2+ saves get Armor of Contempt and 3+ saves don't, and that's like or only get it some of the time, and that's kind of wild. So I do think it matters. I think it makes 3+ saves significantly worse than 2+ saves. And I think it's kind of a poorly considered rule. Either they should all get cover all the time, or they should never get cover. None of them should. Any of them should never get cover. But I think that I don't know. The happy medium. They tried to strike a happy medium between the two, and I think they failed. All right, let's go. So we talked about this stuff previously. We got this in their article. Their ability is they gain psychic weapons, lethal hits, sustained hits, or devastating wounds. And it's just select one. It's not once per game, so eat your heart out, Death Watch. But it is only a couple of the weapons. So they get a double move, but then they can't charge. Reroll one saving throw within 18 inches of a psyker. Use a stratagem for 0. And nuke somebody for 1 billion mortal wounds. And importantly, you can hit lone operatives with this. So this is the I spoke previously about lone operative abilities being really strong.
Late to stream, did you discuss Brute Gift of Nurgle ability paired with Boil Blight? Feels like anyone could be the unit in contagion range.
Boil Blight is the... I think that I briefly considered that in my brain. Hold up. Where did... Oh, they're on the side here. I don't believe it works how you think it works. Boil Blight is the nuclear bomb, the orbital strike. Is that right? I don't remember the names of the abilities. I'm sorry. Oh, no. All right. I don't know what Boil Blight is. Let's look. Until the end of the phase, each time. Okay, one death card removed from your army and one enemy in contagion range. of that unit. Oh, I see. I see your question. Yeah, yeah. So if you shoot someone with a hell brute, are they considered to be? Can you get the effect of Boil Blight? I don't believe you can. Generally speaking, those effects that, so if we look at the Hellbrute, who's like over here somewhere. Generally speaking, those effects that say like a unit without specifying, they contribute the effect of being in range, but you don't choose a unit to be this unit. You know what I'm saying? So while you're within range of a unit, you get -1 toughness, but like multiple units stacking up the effect don't contribute multiple -1 toughnesses. You don't like choose one unit within contagion range to be the one within contagion range of you. It's just a like passive effect, and the Hellbrute's effect is that he grants you that passive ability. So you don't get to pick like, oh, that this is the unit that I want to be in contagion range of you. It's just saying that you gain the contagion range effect. You'd still have to my reading, be physically within contagion range of them to get the Boil Blight effect, which is a little bit sad. It would have to say something like, select one enemy unit hit by those attacks until the start of your next turn. Each time a unit from your army makes an attack against that unit, it is considered to be in contagion range of the attacking unit. If it was to consider itself to be in physical contagion range of you. It's pretty annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah. Right, it's yeah, so it doesn't say choose a unit you're considered to be in contagion range of that unit. It's like a unit just means that you get the effect of contagion auras on them. I'm definitely it's too early for me to explain this in a coherent manner, but because the Hellbrute doesn't specify which unit you're considered to be in engagement range of, it is none of them not a specific one. You know what I mean? Like, it's just contributing whatever the benefit of being in contagion range of. It's not contributing. It's not telling you have a unit, like a specific unit in range of them. They would have to, yeah, they would have to have a different wording. I feel like that didn't make sense there, and I felt like I was just rambling incoherently, but I hope that makes sense. I wish it worked that way. And thanks for the super chat, by the way. I really appreciate it. But I do wish it worked that way. That would be cool. It's weird that Boil Blight isn't like... I don't know. It's weird that Boil Blight specifies contagion range of the attacking unit, not an enemy in contagion range. It feels like they should all specify a unit in contagion range if they have that. I don't know. The abilities don't seem like that well thought out. All right. Let's look at the stratagems. Psychic Dominion we saw. Devastating Sorcery. 1 CP. To the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a psychic attack roll, the hit roll, and the wound roll. Only shooting phase, you can't use it on force weapons. And we'll have to see what the psychic attacks look like. Destined by fate, when a 1,000 Sun Psyker model fails a saving throw, reduce the damage of the attack to 0. Fuck, okay. So you get a floating reroll for 2 Cabal points. And you can use that stratagem twice for 6. So you can be like invincible. Like Magnus the Red's probably standing out here like, I can't be killed. Plus you can just like CP reroll. So if you have 2 CP and 8 Cabal points, you can reroll 2 saving throws and auto pass 2 saving throws. Seems fine, right? And Sourceld Infusion. Until the end of the phase, all Inferno Bolt Pistols, Inferno Bolt Guns, Inferno Combi Bolters, and Combi Weapons, not Flamers, Have the psychic ability and a strength characteristic of 5. Holy crap. So they get +1 strength, and they gain these effects. So either lethal, sustained, or devastating. And if you have 2 CP, you can use it with devastating sorcery. What the fuck? I guess that is expensive. These guys are going to be CP starved. Holy shit. Plus 9 inches to the range of psychic weapons. Okay. And warp sight. When you make an attack with a psychic weapon, you get indirect fire and ignore cover. Oh my god. So I guess like they make their psychic weapon super strong, but also they're probably run out of CP to do that all at the same time. Ahriman we already talked about. All right, I kind of want to rip the band-aid off, chat, and I just want to talk about Magnus. Where's Magnus? Is he at the end of the document? No. I just want to see what Magnus does. There he is. So he's Cabal of Sorcerers 4, 4 plus Involve, T11, 16 wounds. Not towering. The Gaze of Magnus. Oh. That's fine, I guess. They were like, guys. Magnus has the strongest ranged attack. It's like the strongest single profile we've ever printed. And it's strength 9, AP2, 3 damage. Okay. Fine, I guess. Sure. I was expecting this to be like a 12 damage, like sustained hit D3 laser beam, but it's just like a gun. It's just a regular ass gun. Well, anticlimax. I guess he gets +1 to hit and wound. So he's hitting on ones, and so if you give him the indirect ability, he like shoots through the indirect and ignores cover. And then he wounds like most vehicles on 3s or 4s. So I mean, I guess that's fine. And you can full reroll him and or make him indirect. I don't know. It seems okay. I guess that giving like standing him next to Scarab Occults or whatever and getting +1 to hit and wound and then making all the Scarab Occult bolt guns psychic weapons is kind of nutso because then they get +1 to hit and wound. And they get strength 5 and you can give them full rerolls. So you can actually make Scarab Occults for 2 CP. Actually just like slap super hard. His modal abilities, -1 damage on himself against non-psychic. Choose one enemy unit within 24 inches. Ranged weapons get hazardous. Doesn't seem very good. It's also the start of the battle round. Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to use that one. That one's not very strong. Unless, like, you have a unit that has a billion ranged weapons. If, like, somehow a unit of 10 models with 3 ranged weapons each, then it might be okay, but otherwise I don't think so. And then time flux, you get +2 inches of movement. He's basically just perma -1 damage, right? So he's like a hyper tank. The Magnus is going to be fairly impossible to kill. He's okay at melee, 7 attack, strength 16, AP3, 3 damage. It's good. It's solidly good. Plus he can sweep. But I think he's just literally invincible. Warp sight is psychers only? Oh, it's not psycher. It's not psychic weapons get indirect fire. It's psyker models get indirect fire. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I think I misread this stratagem. We're already doing a chat. This is a bad stratagem. Just kidding. For 2 CP, you select 1000 Sun Psyker unit So that can be anything that has a psyker in it. And you select one enemy unit that's visible, then your psyker models. Oh, it's every psyker. Oh, okay. I get it. It's not psyker models in the unit, it's psyker models in your army. Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. So you can still use it to affect Magnus. But yeah, the rubrics don't get it. You're right. I thought that would be broken. But that's good call out. Yeah, so you can't use it to shoot Scarab Terminators through walls, but you can use it to have one dude like teleport over and then use that guy to arc Magnus's spells and give him indirect fire. That's cool. That's actually a really cool ability. I thought it was like straight broken. I thought it was just like old school Gate of Infinity for 2 CP, but excuse me, Astral Aim. But that's much more interesting and cool. Lords of Change have more finger guns than Magnus. Yeah. But Magnus is +1 to hit and wound with his finger guns. Magnus, I would say, is roughly equivalent to a Lord of Change when it comes to finger gunning people and using Psychic Mind Bullets on them. Does Ahriman do the same thing if he has a disc that he did previously? What can he join? Rubrics and rubrics. Okay. So on the disc, he just gets extra movement and a wound. That's boring. I was kind of hoping that Ahriman would do something different if he had a if he was on his disc, but that's all right. I like that Ahriman's profile is immediately followed by a Land Raider. Okay. Predator Annihilators, Predator Destructors, Rhino, Chaos Spawn, Vindicators. Vindicators are so good. I don't know if they're going to have the same level of support as they do in Space Marines, but they're probably still worth playing. Defilers, we've seen before. Exalted Sork. In your command phase, if the model is leading a unit, you can roll 1d6. You perils on a 1. On a 2+, you add a bodyguard unit to a bodyguard model to the unit, and he can join Rubric Marines. That's okay. And he gives him a 4+ invulnerable save. That's not so okay. So he can just like sort of lead 10 Rubric Marines and wander around the middle of the table and try to hold the middle objective. An Exalted Sorcerer on disc has the same ability. Everyone's just granting everyone 4+ invulnerable saves, I guess. This is like 4+ invulnerable save to the faction. Select one enemy unit within 18 inches at the end of your movement phase. On a 1, have the movement characteristic. It is visible, so if they're hiding, they can't do it. Have the move characteristic is a very big debuff, but you're already 18 inches, so somebody else is going to hit you. What deep strike abilities do we have? Because he can't deep strike. We can just double move him, right? What is the timing of that? Start of your shooting. So it's after you would use his ability. So you could strategic reserve him, I guess, but that's the only way to like get around. Oh, here we go. Unprolific Crystal, you can remove the bearer's unit from the battlefield and set them up 9 inches away. In your command phase. Huh, weird. Oh, you use it in the command phase and then they go in the reinforcement step. And that would then trigger before the binding happens. So you could use him to if he's Umbralific Crystalled, the disc guy could just jump around to grab people who are out of line of sight, I think is the idea. Yeah, I think that he's certainly safe from the unit that he binds, but the question mark is whether he's safe from the rest of your army is the real operative part. because his unit might just get killed. But honestly, like if you're just rocking like these big like fuck off warp flamer units that are like 11 models with flamers, and you're just overwatching a million times, because you can overwatch twice with the ritual, right? Like that seems fine. That seems pretty okay. The Thousand Suns Forge Fiend suppresses people instead of battle shocking them, which I think is better. The Forge Fiend might be sweet, just because you're stacking multiple defensive buffs together at that point. The Thousand Suns Hellbrute refunds a Cabal point. That's cute. I wonder how many Cabal points you typically have. You probably have like 3 Sorcerers, Magnus, and like 4 1-point units, right? So you probably have like 14 or 15. Refunding 1 isn't amazing. Oh, but it is each time. It's not once per round. So you can refund like 2 or 3 if one Psyker is doing all of your Cabal's stuff. Thousand Suns Helldrake removes cover from enemies. That's cute. You have a lot of other ways to ignore cover in this faction, it feels like, though. Infernal Master. Once per turn, change the result of one hit roll, wound roll, or damage roll made for this model to an unmodified 6. Whatever. Okay. He grants sustained hits 1. Okay. And can join rubrics. Magnus Thread we already talked about. The Mauler Fiend can heroically intervene for 0. Okay. He does punch really hard. AP 2 sucks, but strength 14, D6 plus 1 damage is great. Mutilate Vortex Beast we talked about. He has a sweet laser beam. And he makes your rituals double, what's the word? Double range, which is also great. So you can shoot Doom Bolts across the table. Rubric Marines look amazing. Scarab Occult Terminators get transhuman, but nothing joins them, right? What joins Scarab Occult? Is it literally nothing? Whoa, yeah. Everyone joins Rubric Marines, but no one joins Scarab Occult Terminators. That's wild. So you can't buff them in any way besides stratagems. But they do give you the biggest access to combi bolters. There's a Terminator Sorcerer? Oh, where's he at? How come he didn't show up on my search? I guess I can just look. Oh, there he is. Oh. There. Oh. Okay, so there's one guy. He grants lethal hits. In your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of visible until the end of the turn. Each time you make an attack that targets the unit. Any attack, reroll hit rolls of 1? Holy shit, yeah, this guy's amazing. What the fuck? I have to shoot somebody with an exocrine to get that effect. This guy just does it? Are you kidding me? Okay, yeah, no, that's much better. Just kidding, Scarab Occult Terminators. You definitely rock a brick of those guys. He doesn't. Well, I guess he doesn't need to grant the 4+ invulnerable save because I mentioned already have one. They do. So they're like mini. They have the new transhuman and a 4+ invuln. That's already seems great. So like these guys, 10 of these guys just to do the full reroll, like the 2 CP psychic plus full reroll strat. On to make all of their combi bolters strength 5 and psychic weapons. And then the sorcerer in them, you probably have like 3 or 4 units of Scarab Occult Terminators, and then you win Windmill Magnus. Or not Scarab Occult, Rubric Marines, excuse me. To add characters into. And then you throw Magnus on the table, and he's just an invincible god. 1,000 Suns cultists are destroyed on a 2+, you gain 1 CP. Actually, these guys are sweet. They're probably 50 points for an OC1 objective grabbing unit and 1 command point. That's adorable. Absolutely adorable. Oh, this guy does buff Scarab Occult Terminators. He grants precision. That's fine, I guess, but I don't know if that's going to be super relevant. And he grants stealth within 6. Yeah, that's also good. Do they have a winged demon prince? They do. He bombs. Let's move 11 though. It's kind of whatever. If he's not within engagement range, you can reinforce him at the end of your opponent's turn. Also fine. But then he doesn't get to bomb, right? Yeah. Eh. I guess if nobody is nearby, I'll read Deep Strike, but I want to bomb people as much as possible. Where do you get a Terminator Sorcerer? That's a great question. Is that just the Chaos Sorcerer model that they showed on the card? Because you can just get the normal Chaos Sorcerer like kit, which is honestly one of my favorite kits. I think I have like great nostalgia for that because I played Chaos Space Marines when that kit came out. But Games Workshop did a whole thing for a while where... Why can't I find the stupid datasheet? These datasheets are not like ordered in any way that makes a modicum of sense. Is this him? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where this guy comes from. But they have the Chaos Terminator HQ. And that's one of my favorites. So you can just use this guy. But this kit is like super cool because it has like a ton of different build variety. You can build like a bunch of different sort of styles of character out of it. This actually looks kind of similar. The cloak is the same. This guy might just... Is this the same model but has different bits? No, not quite. It just has the same cloak, it looks like. They actually showed a conversion on the datasheet? That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. You just use this guy, I think, is the answer. Because this kit's sweet anyway, so that's fine. Or you just like get a Scarab Occult Sorcerer and then like mod him up, I guess. Fortunately, there's a bunch of different ways to get a Terminator dude with a cool stick. Yeah, honestly, super impressed by Thousand Suns so far. Thousand Suns do feel like the strongest Chaos faction I think we've looked at thus far, like far and away. End of your command phase, roll d6 for each objective mark you control. It has one or more units from your army within it. On a 4+, you get a command point. Or a cabal point, excuse me. That seems good. Question is, do you want these guys over a command point generating cultists, I guess is the question. I think both of them seem good. All right, what are we doing next, chat? It looked like there was a bunch of people asking about Chaos Space Marines. Are we on Chaos Space Marines next? Not sure why they nerfed the hell out of the Pyrovore melee. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, you're not really bringing Pyrovores for their melee prowess, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Pyrovores look amazing, though. I think the next time I'm going to play, there's a potentially leaked, I don't know if it's leaked or it's just a prospective points list for Tyranids for 10th edition that has zoanthropes relatively inexpensive, and I think the The way forward might be mass zoanthropes with pyrovores to let them ignore cover. So then they're like the equivalent of AP 4-ish against vehicles, and you can just laser beam vehicles down. I don't know if that's good because they die really easily. I think your opponent just like owes a moment an entire zoanthrope unit, and you lose a 250 point unit of dudes, but it might be fine. All right, what are we doing? Thousand Sun stole the tankiness of Death Guard? Maybe. I wonder if Death Guard are cheapsies. It kind of feels to be like, I don't know. Plague Marines might be super inexpensive. Can Chaos Knights take demons with the demon ally rule? I don't believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to double check. All right. Chaos Space Marines. So demons, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, demons, demons. Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos. Okay, yeah, it's we're in on CSM today. It looks like. Let's go. If your army faction is Heretic Astartes, you can include any of the following units. Their faction keywords are replaced by yours, and you get up to 500 points of them. Berserkers, Rubric Marines, Plague Marines. All right. Dark Pacts, you can gain either lethal hits or sustained, and then you can take a leadership check, and if you fail, you take D3 mortals, whatever. When mustering your army, each time you select a Heretic Astartes unit to include, if it's not an epic hero, it does not already have one or more of the keywords listed below, you must select one of the keywords for it to gain. Each time a unit with those keywords makes a Dark Pact, it gains the associated ability until the end of the phase. Whoa! Khorne, if you gain lethal hits, you get criticals on a 5. Tzeentch, if you get lethal hits, you get criticals on a 5. Nurgle, you get sustained on a 5. Slaanesh, you get sustained on a 5 in melee. In the shooting phase, in the fight phase. Okay. Chaos Undivided. Each time you make an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. Whoa. Oops, sorry, I've got an itchy ear. Oops. Wow, all right. Well, that seems good. Your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after enemy unit has selected its targets. You can worsen the AP by 1. So you have a real shitty Armor of Contempt for 2 CP instead of 1. It's the same, right? Yeah. Rip. Well, fair enough. Profane Zeal. So got an extra little colon in here. That's awkward. When one Heretic Astartes unit from your army has not been selected to fight, you get reroll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1 if you are undivided. You can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll? What the fuck? What? Holy shit. So just if you mark anything undivided, it can full reroll for 1 CP. Are you serious? Jesus Christ. Okay. And that's just anything. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army. If it's Chaos Undivided. Holy crap. Alright. Eternal Hate. When Heretic Astartes unit from your army is selected as a target of one or more of the attacking its enemy attacks in fight phase. Roll 1d6, so it's a fight on death on a 4, but you get a bonus if you're Khorne. Skin Shift. One model in your unit regains 3 lost wounds. If you're Tzeentch, you can destroyed model in addition. Interesting. You can fall back in charge if you're Slaanesh, you can advance. Wow. And then Dark Obscuration. You gain stealth. If you're Nurgle, you can't be targeted. Yeah, so you gain the lone operative effect. These strats are nuts, chat. Holy crap. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Talisman of Burning Blood, +1 attack and strength if you make a... Oh, they have 5? How come they get 5 enhancements? What? More enhancements than friggin'... I guess they have one undivided, and then one for each other guy, so it makes sense. That's insane. I have Z... So this is, yeah. 1 to your attack and strength, D3 if you make a Dark Pact, which you're going to do anyway, because you're like D3 mortal wounds, whatever. If I... On like a 30% chance. Eye of Tzeentch. Each time the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact, take a leadership check. If it's passed, you gain a CP, which is just Abaddon's ability, right? Oh, it's an additional leadership check. So you make a Dark Pact, take a leadership check for the Dark Pact, take a leadership check for the Eye of Tzeentch, right? Oh, yeah. So it's 1 before the attack and then also 1 after. Orbs of Unlife. At the end of the fight phase, a d6 for each enemy within 6, +1 if you made a Dark Pact. On a 4, they take D3 mortal wounds. It's not very good. It's actually kind of... Yeah, that's not great. Intoxicating Elixir, you get a 5+ Fiona Pain. You can force a Battle Shock check if you make Dark. Also not great. I guess it's shoot or fight, but then you have to play like a Slaanesh, weird Slaanesh like shooting character. Yeah, who cares? Liber Hereticus, Undivided. Each time the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact, the unit's weapons gain lethal hits and sustained 1 instead of gaining 1. Undivided seems so good. That's definitely pretty solid. Advance and charge your full reroll untargetable Terminators. If only you could do that. Oh, for Abaddon specifically? Yeah, I guess so. Sorry, I missed that you were talking about Abaddon. Yeah, I think that's probably makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't, it just checks the unit keyword, so Abaddon does make your dudes super duper tough. I liked that people were complaining about Abaddon's profile. I was like, are you nutso? This guy seems crazy. And he's also Chaos Undivided, so they are also full rerolling, yeah. I feel like you might be it's a little CP hungry, but Abaddon should gain you 1 every turn past like turn 1, I think, because he'll be able to shoot basically every turn. Harken World Claimer can do impact attacks when enemy unit is within 6. If it's below starting strength, you take a battle check. He's just a Chaos Knight, I guess. All right. He has a Lightning Claw that doesn't reroll, and 1 extra 3 damage melee attack. That is not a good offensive profile. Yeah, I don't care about this guy. Huron. Always leading a unit, you get +1 objective control. Fuck yeah. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Heretic Astartes and redeploy them. All right. Already good. And then his little demon friend. Once per battle, when an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance or fall back, the model's unit can make a d6 move. Huron Blackheart seems like a solid include. He also has 10 attacks. Oh, only strength 4, though. Nah, he's all right in melee, I guess. He's a strength 6 heavy flamer, so that's solid. Demon Prince grants benefit of cover to infantry within 6, not everything. So that big old Terminator brick that Abaddon's running around with is pretty solid. And each time he shoots or fights, he's mastercrafted or master artisans. Pretty good. Winged Demon Prince gets an impact attack. And he like bombs for battle shock checks. Whatever. I like that they make the winged demon princes or the winged characters like easier to get into melee, but their support effects are way worse. So they're like better. They're kind of better at fighting, just because they have a better chance of getting into melee. But they're not as good as an army support ability. It's a little bit funky that the Demon Prince, this Demon Prince profile doesn't benefit himself with his own defensive aura because he's a monster. I think that's like the only, that's one of the few that doesn't. Fabulous Bill. If he's attached at the start of the battle until the end, add +1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons and toughness characteristic of bodyguards for chosen or legionaries. That's fine, I guess. Once per turn. When an attack is allocated to a model in this unit, if it contains Fabulous Bile, you can change the damage characteristic to 0. Now, I believe that because he is a character unit, and you consider the character unit and its bodyguard unit to be a single unit for rules purposes, I believe that will actually also translate over to the unit that he's joined. So he's actually kind of a big defensive buff. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's how that works. Like, basically, the bodyguard unit and the attached character will like transfer over each other's like unit-wide abilities. Acolyte is worded so it works both when he's in the unit and without one. Acolyte is worded so that he works both when he's leading the unit and without one. Yeah, right. So even if his bodyguard unit is dead, he's gonna impact himself. Some complaints about the mics. I can turn the microphone up, chat. For whatever reason, I'm on my headset microphone today. For whatever reason, my headset microphone doesn't pick up very well. I don't know why. But I can increase it. Let me know if that's okay. Cypher makes a return. He can Agents Effect a stratagem. If he attacks... Oh, every time an enemy unit attacks, if he selects a Heretic Astartes model, then he can shoot at them if they're a legal target. And he has a sustained AP1 bolt pistol and a sustained overcharged plasma pistol without hazardous. He's a lone operative. It's kind of cute. I wonder how much of a lease there is on life for these little lone operative characters. I kind of hope that they're good. I like the idea of Cypher. Like, I wish he was like Infiltrator. It's kind of funky that he's not, but I wish that he was running around and just like skirmishing with OBSEC forward deployers or something. Master of Possession grants +1 to advance and charge rolls and a 6 with feel no pain. And he can join probably Possessed, I imagine. Yeah. Chosen Legionnaires and Possessed. Once per phase, he can deal his unit a mortal wound. When he makes a psychic attack, he gets +1 to hit and wound. And he has a Strength Checks AP3 3 damage gun. So he's like, with +1 to wound, he wounds vehicles on like 4s. Hits on 2s, wounds on 4s if he does himself a mortal wound. And if he's in a Tzeentch unit, you can pay a CP to regenerate those guys. The regular Chaos Lord has Rites of Battle. That's great. And once per battle at the start of the fight phase, he can get +1 strength, attack, AP, and damage. All right. Terminator the Chaos Lord is half damage, and he has Rites of Battle. Honestly, like, this guy just competes with Abaddon, so I think he's probably DOA. He might be a combat patrol kind of guy. The Sorcerer was leading unit. Each time an attack targets that unit, gets -1 to hit. That's good. And he can force enemies to take leadership checks or take D3 mortals. It's kind of whatever. Reroll advance and charge rolls with the Terminator Sorcerer. Again, you're probably competing with Abaddon. You can hex someone on a 2+. You get +1 AP against that enemy unit at the start of your shooting phase. That's all right. If you take a Chaos Familiar, you can 0 out 1 damage. I almost wonder if you take these guys by themselves. It is shooting phase only for their ability, right? Oh no, it's until start of your next movement phase, so it also affects your melee attacks. Yeah, maybe you just take the Sorcerer Terminator by himself. He deep strikes, right? Yeah, so you can just deep strike him, bloop, plop him next to a unit, +1 AP. And then he's kind of hard to kill on the kickback. I don't know. Like, he's got an okay gun, I guess. D6 shots for D3 damage. If they're cheap enough, you might play it. Luscious! Grants fight first. I imagine he joins Noisy Boys and Legionnaires. Yeah. Each time a model is destroyed by an attack, or each time he is destroyed. Each time! If he gets destroyed multiple times, you get it a bunch. How many enhancements do you get per army? Yeah, you get 3, but they cost points. So it's not like previously where you pay CP or you just like you start with one for free. You do actually have to buy them. So buying, honestly, in almost every game that I played, and it might be the case for just Tyranids and Space Marines right now because they're kind of character light, but so far it's been difficult to fit more than like maybe 2 into the army. So the cap of 3 actually doesn't feel like that big of a like restriction, especially because it looks like most of them are going to be like between 15 and 25 points. So if you have 3 enhancements is almost an entire unit of models, right? So like you're really giving up a utility unit or something to take them all. All right. Each time this model is destroyed, that unit must take a leadership check. If it's passed, the enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. If it's failed, you suffer D6. If mortal wounds are inflicted, you set him back up on the table. Fuck yeah. Or if they're inflicted and destroy an enemy unit. I mean, that's good because he fights first. Seems good. Highest potential damage in the game, just because he can respawn himself infinitely. You do have to destroy an entire unit, right? Yeah. So if like some random idiot kills him, like 10 like stupid guardsmen kill him, and then he deals D6 mortal wounds to them and he kills 5, but there's 2 left, he doesn't respawn. He has to kill the entire unit to regenerate. He seems fine. Fights first is really, really good, though. For sure. I mean, it's like he gets a kickback. Like so the other thing to remember too is that he also fights first. So like if it's like late game and you're trying to anchor with him, and he gets charged by some dummy and hits them for 4, and then they kill him, there's a pretty reasonable chance that he kills that guy and then respawns. So I actually think it's more synergistic than it looks like. But it's only against like infantry, which is, to be fair, kind of how he works, right? Because he like you turn into Lucius if you kill him. But if you're like a las cannon, I don't know how that works. If you kill him with a big laser beam, does the gun turn into Lucius the Eternal? I don't know. He can -1 to hit vehicles and can potentially force them to not shoot. That's pretty good. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle unit within 12. You get reroll wounds rolls of 1 against it. Pretty solid. The Warp Smith, while within 3 inches of a vehicle, gets Lone Operative. Also solid. And can heal and get +1. He's just a Tech Marine. I like that they debuff vehicles instead of getting mad when you kill their vehicles. It's like kind of fits the pernicious theme of the Chaos Space Marines. What if a last cannon killed Lucius and he turned into Megatron? It's just a big Lucius, like Lucius the Eternal made out of robot parts. As Exalted Champion, each time this model's unit makes a Dark Pact until the end of the phase, add D3 to the strength characteristic of weapons equipped. Oh, by this model. Just kidding. I thought by the unit. So that's cool. He can like buff up his melee attacks if he wants to. He grants his unit +1 to hit. That's also great. +1 to hit, just solid effect, like him. Dark Apostle is a chaplain, so he gives +1 to wound and melee. Who can he join? Accursed Cultists, Chosen, Cultist Mobs, and Legionaries. Meh. Everybody joins Chosen. Are Chosen good? Probably not, right? They're like the Vanguard veteran equivalents, I imagine. He has the chaplain ability to unbattle shock people. And he can mortal wound people within 6. If he kills his own disciples, that's adorable. The Dark Commune. Give a 5+ invulnerable save to a cult demagogue. Or to a cultist unit. If they have a demagogue. Once per battle, you can advance and charge, get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. Okay. You're probably fighting uphill if you're trying to make the cultists do damage in melee. I like the idea of this unit, though. I have a sneaking suspicion that's probably not that exciting. I guess, like, well, you could Dark Pact him, maybe, and it's fine. And then, like, if you're undivided, you get full rerolls with +1 to hit and wound, and it's maybe okay. So you're, like, hitting on 3s rerolling. I assume that this is just anybody, right? Heretic Astartes, not an epic hero, and does not have one of the keywords listed. And Profane Zeal is Heretic Astartes, which I assume cultists are keyworded. These documents take so long to read. In the lore, Lucius died when he stepped on a landmine. He took over the assembly line worker that made the mine. Wouldn't he take over the person who, like, set the mine? So, like, if you stab Lucius the Eternal, the guy who made your sword turns into Lucius the Eternal. That doesn't make sense. Can attach the cult. Yeah, I guess accursed cultists are probably good at fighting, right? Here they are. Felgor Beastman. Trader Guard. Bashdor. Where the fuck are cultists, dude? Oh my god. Culties. Where you at? Holy shit. There they are. So the base cultists have OBSEC. The accursed cultists can just regenerate infinitely. All right, cool. You can take up to 16. And their weapon scale 4. Strength 4 AP 0 or strength 5 AP 1 2 damage. Yeah. Like, I guess that's alright, right? If the demagogue or if the Dark Commune is like hella cheap, then it's probably good. But if you have to pay too many points for them, I think it's too many. It's too much work. There also are there weapons good? Probably not, right? AP2 1 damage, or yeah, devastating wounds. Strength 3 AP 0. Let's get them. Go get them, boys. Everything could do something with full rerolls, right? It's fine, even though they're AP 0. Legionnaires we saw. They have veterans of the Long War. What I want to see are chosen because everyone joins them. Each time they make a dark pact, they reroll hit rolls. Not if we get full rerolls because we made them undivided and paid to CP. Possessed. Chosen. So they have... So at least the cursed weapons are better than heirloom weapons, right? And paired to cursed weapons gets you twin-linked. They're eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they advance or fell back. Whoa! That's sick. Get out of here, Slanesh. We don't need you. That's cool. Cultists seem okay. Or chosen, excuse me, seem okay. Noise Marines, you got the limited edition Noise Marine model on the datasheet. That's funny. Force somebody to battle shock after you shoot them. Blast Masters are strength 9, AP 2, 3 damage with 3 shots. That's solid. Sonic Blasters are strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. At least they have assault weapons. That's good. And they reroll. Yeah. I guess like mass lethal hits is okay, but AP 0 sucks. They don't recover anymore. Blastmaster's still solid. It's a good profile, but it's mostly like a, I don't know. It's kind of a good crack grenade. Venom crawlers constantly get more and more attacks. That's kind of cute. But their attacks kind of suck. Chaos Bikers can go to Strategic Reserve. Raptors force -1 on Battle Shock and make everybody take Battle Shock checks. They're just Reavers. At least they're move 12. At least they're move 12 and can equip actual real melee weapons, unlike Reavers, which are move 6 and can't do that. Warp Talons are twin-linked, and you can force Desperate Escape on people. Whatever. Havocs are kind of how we would expect Havocs to be. Obliterators. Once per battle, when the unit makes a Dark Pact, it can get indirect fire. Okay. All right, hold up. Excuse me? So they can be like D6. They deep strike. They could be like D3, 6 damage, indirect fire. And then if you undivide them, you can full reroll.
Hellbrute going to escort all my Havocs with Warpsmith.
Y'all keep talking about Hellbrutes. I'm excited. I hope the Hellbrute's not a disappointment chat, because y'all keep talking it up. So it better be good. Can we talk about this fucking Obliterator unit, though? Venom Crawlers have a typo giving them 12 shots instead of 6. Oh, because they have 2 guns? Is that what's up? I mean, like, real talk. Yeah, they have 2 extra shooter cannons. Real talk, though. This is like a strength 1, AP 1, like 2 damage gun. I don't... Like, you can shoot 12 times and it probably only does like 4 damage. I don't know. It's like, seems fine. Maybe they're wildly undercosted. But can we talk about Obliterators real quick, chat? Because they seem kind of dumb. This unit seems nutso. I don't know. They have like a this is their intercessor killing gun. This is their cultist killing gun, and this is their vehicle killing gun. And they just give it indirect fire, and for 1 CP, you can take 3 of them? You can take 4 of them! Oh my god! You can put 4 of them in a unit! Holy shit. That seems real good, chat. You can take... That seems real good. Maybe Obliterator's like 150 points or something. Remember when they got like massively increased in like Tale of 8th edition, right? They came out and they were like super borked. They were like 35 points a model or something because they typoed the datasheet. Um, and then they got like ridiculously upcharged. They were like, I don't know, fuck you, take the 110 points or something. They're like 4x their cost. Maybe they'll do that again. That unit seems great. And honestly, like the indirect fire, you'll really only need it for one turn because if you deploy them on the table, you need it for turn one, so your opponent can't escape from you, and then they're just shooting into whatever's in the middle every turn, and you're just like dropping a CP for full rerolls. Seems real strong. All right. Here's all the tanks. Normal tank stuff. Normal tank stuff. Chaos Vindicator. Normal tank stuff. Chaos Vindicator's still great. Probably take these guys. That Demolisher Cannon profile is sort of nutso. This guy grants Devastating and Hazardous to himself. It's weird that the Forge Fiends all do different things. All right, here's the Hellbrute. What is the Hellbrute's ability? Well, friendly Heretic Astartes is within 6 inches. Each time it makes a Dark Pact, it gains both abilities conferred by the Pact instead of one. Oh. Is that... That's just the Undivided ability? Oh, no. What's the equivalent of that? Is it? Oh, it's the Liber Hereticus. It gives everybody a lighter. It's the Undivided Enhancement ability. I mean, that seems fine. I don't know. I was kind of expecting like a little bit more panache there. Everybody was talking about it, but it seems very good. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Yeah, I'd take a Hellbrute, sure. The highest they ever got was 115. Yeah, I remember 115 for Obliterators for sure. Good job, Hellbrute. You seem okay. These Helldrakes seem worse than the Thousand Suns Helldrake by quite a bit. Mauler Fiend rerolls advanced and charge. It's still a good melee profile. Only AP2 is kind of sad. Honestly, most melee weapons in the game I think need to get pumped in AP value. Right now, I think AP, like 90% of melee weapons being AP2 is like super shitty, but it is what it is. Forces the Lord of Skulls forces battle shock checks on people. The Noctilith Crown grants a 4+ invulnerable save. They get double exploding and double lethal. I don't think that's how that works. Well, I guess we don't know that's how that works. I can't imagine that lethal hits has a stacking effect. Sustained might, but we don't know. I would be fucking so shocked if lethal hits give you 2 free wounds instead of just 1. If you had multiple instances of it. I have a sneaking suspicion numerical weapon abilities may stack, like, you know, you add them together, but non-numerical weapon abilities, there's no way that, like, having 2 instances of the lance roll doesn't give you +2 to wound, right? Feels like the survivability of the game has really decreased. That is not the case for the most part. Things are difficult. I think it's largely side graded. Or at least like has switched. You have to work a little bit harder to get the same level of lethality as you gotten in the previous. We need to check if 2 instances of sustained 1 makes sustained 2. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. That'll be in the FAQ document. We just don't know right now. Anyway, the Noctilith Crown gives a 4+ invulnerable save within 9, or wholly within 9. That's still pretty good. 9 inches is a big distance. It doesn't forward deploy though, which is a little sad. It grants cover. While an enemy unit is engaged range, yeah, you can shoot into it. Vashtor. Well, a demon vehicle is within 6. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of weapons equipped. At the end of your movement phase, select one vehicle within 18. Have the move characteristic and subtract 1 from the attack of melee weapons. Only melee. And he's AP 1 in melee. Jesus. Oh, excuse me. Trader Guardsmen get cover on objectives. Beastmen get +2 to charge against objectives, but are kind of not that good at fighting, so it's like whatever. Trader Enforcers get insane bravery for free and gives characters a 4+ feel no pain thanks to their Ogren. Seems alright. And that's what we got. Does sustained 1 trigger lethal hits in addition to normal lethal hit? It doesn't appear that the sustained hit triggers lethal. Instead, it looks like you'll get, if you're sustained and lethal, you'll get 1 lethal and then 1 normal wound, basically, out of every critical. Let's talk about Chaos Knights next, chat. Let's jump through. Chaos Space Marines do seem incredibly strong, though. I don't know. I guess, like, they do seem trixier. They seem, like, kind of harder to parse through than Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns just seem like straight up, like, they're just going to nuke you for 1,000,000 damage. But Chaos Space Marines seem like you have to work a little bit harder. But I think that Chaos Space Marines would probably end up being more powerful if I had to guess. They definitely seem like on par, for sure. And eat your heart out, everyone who's complaining about losing your Forge World units. Oh no, I lost my Forge World units, but I got 1 CP full rerolls. Get out of here. I don't know, man. It does seem good. Seems like a real strong faction. Abaddon's bodyguard looks completely juiced. You have to, like, you have to, I don't know. Like, Terminators don't seem, like, they'll probably do a lot of damage, but I don't know if the Terminator profile is like that exciting to me. They're probably good. They're probably good enough. And honestly, just delivering Abaddon and then giving a bunch of buffs to Abaddon is probably fine, good enough. I don't know if you expect too much damage out of his unit, though. But, you know, who knows? Full rerolling everything is a hell of a drug, so it might be fine. All right. So these guys... First battle round grant, yeah, so this is from their faction review article, but it's been a while, so we gotta take a look. Any Chaos army can include 1 Satanic Chaos Knight or 3 War Dogs. None of them could be your Warlord and they don't get enhancements. Good to know. Battle round 1. And also, I guess you don't get their stratagems, right? Because you're not in Tortoise lands. So that's an important thing to keep track of. Unlike previous editions, where you would if you had a super heavy auxiliary. Now you would not. So first battle round, you get -1 within 12. And then battle round 3 onwards, if you battle shock enemies, you get +1 to wound them, and they get -1 to hit you. Which I'm gonna, honestly, it kind of feels like battle shock should do anyway. Battle shock is not really a very relevant ability so far. But maybe it's fine for these guys. In the battle shock check of the opponent's command phase, if an enemy is within 12, they must take a battle shock check. This means that enemy units within range of the aura that have lost 1 or more models take a battle shock check, not just those below half strength. So this is so confusing. Why would you say this? The question is this in addition to the one that would be below half strength? And it feels like that's the intention, but they don't say that, and it can be read either way. This is not a very good designer note. Not just the ones below half strength, but is it in addition to the ones below half strength, or I don't know. Annoying. Very confusing. That designer's note is the worst thing so far. Yeah, like, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help anyone. What are you doing? There's multiple effects like these, though. I imagine that gets noted in the designer's note. Like, if you force, if you're required by an ability to take a battle shock check in your battle shock step, that you're not then required to take other battle shock checks. Like, I imagine that's what it says, but they don't say that. Very confusing and stupid. That could easily be cleaned up by one additional word in any of those instances. Enhancements. Force a battle shock at the start of the fight phase. Aura of Terror. Gives you objective secured. And when you taint an objective, that objective marker has the Despair Dread ability as if it were a Chaos Knights model. So it forces, it reduces enemy battle shock checks, which is alright. Obsec is really good for this faction, so I think you just lock that one in every time, basically. Trader's Mark. The Doom and Darkness ability is active for the bearer from the first battle run instead of the third. Probably lock that one in too. Dang. Alright. -1 to be hit if you're battle shocked. Pretty good. And Panoply of the Cursed Knights. -1 AP. Also probably good. Yeah, these all seem great. Now, who can take these? Who's character keyworded? Does it say? Okay, the big knights just have character built in. Okay. Sorry for your loss on assassination there, guys. But at least that's cleaned up. Oop, stratagems. Almost totally skipped them. Ooh, Terror Shades comes back. That's sweet. Half the battle shock effects of a rider not telling you not to make 2. Yeah, but some of them don't. Some of them, like, clearly you're supposed to make 2. Like, honestly, force more battle shock checks. If you want battle shock to matter, stop making battle shock be like this garbage random rule. Allow armies that care about battle shock to, like, confirm battle shock on you. Realistically, I think, like, honestly, like, a lot of these effects should just automatically fail battle shock. It's like the ones where it's like, at the end of your turn, one enemy unit must take a battle shock check. It's like, just make them fail it, dude. It doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything. When you charge an enemy unit, they must take a battle shock check. Just fail the battle shock. Make them uninterruptible. Like, that's, I don't know. It's because everyone's leadership values are so high, like, forcing people to roll battle shock checks is too random for it to matter. So just make it more repeatable. All right. So let's go. Treadhounds. When you gang up on enemies, you get sustained hits 1 and you get criticals on 5s. I guess it's only 1 CP, so that's fine. Terror Shades. After an enemy fails a battle shock check, you can mortal wound them. Whatever. I guess you heal the model that's using it. That's alright. Disdain for the weak. You get a 6+ feel no pain, 5+ feel no pain if the attacks are made battle shock to units. 6+ feel no pain is fine on a big knight anyway. For 1 CP, yeah, it's just anything. Honestly, that's probably good enough. Like, I was using a 6+ feel no pain for a CP on stupid Tyranids. It's great on a big knight. That's way harder to kill. 1 aberrant model from your army and up to 3 war dogs. They're considered to be within range of the aberrant. Abhorrent? That's awesome. Where is he? So it's all of the Questoris knights. So what would that affect? Not this guy. Reroll hit rolls of 1, solid. Reroll hit rolls of 1 in melee, in range. And +1 battle shock. Oh, actually, no, those abilities are kind of whatever. I guess giving 3 people reroll hit rolls of 1 in a phase is pretty okay. But it's weird that it's kind of a I kind of understand from a thematic element, but the fact that it's one abhorrent model means that you can either reroll your hits of 1 in range or melee, but not both. I kind of wish they would just consider it to be in aura effects. That would be nice, but I understand. Diabolic Bulwark, 4+ invulnerable save against range attacks. So that's rotate ion shield. And Knights of Shade. You can move through terrain features horizontally. So that's the Corvax stratagem, right? That's really good. That's a solid stratagem for 1 CP. Executioners. Strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage. AP 1's kind of garbo. Only 4 shots. Oh, but they have 2 of them. Okay, so they shoot 8 times. That's all right. Because they used to be 2d3, right? So they'd fire 4d3, and they can get +1 to hit against enemies below half strength. That's like a solid mediocre. AP 1's a killer here. A 2+ save and cover, they just on a 2, and you're like, cool. And I'm probably winning on 5s anyway, because I'm shooting at a vehicle. Stalkers. If you're not within 6 inches of another friendly, you get +1 to wound. That's cute. So if the enemy spreads out, you get a bonus against them. That's really good late game. Once you're like running individual units to grab objectives and stuff, the stalker just like destroys you. I like that a lot, actually. It's a cool rule. Just don't have them take a battle shock check, say it's battle shock. That's what I'm saying. Especially because I think that they're like afraid that battle shock ruins scoring, right? Because you're like, well, top of phase, like you auto battle shocked, and then you can't score anymore. That's fair, except that effects, the way they've set it up is that you battle shocking someone out of phase outside some very specific circumstances cannot affect scoring because you reset battle shock at the start of your turn. So battle shocking your opponent during your turn literally only affects stratagem usage. That's the only thing it does. And your ability to hold objectives at the end of your turn, which basically doesn't matter. So like why are we making them roll it? It's so stupid. Like I can understand it if you can prevent them from scoring, because preventing someone from scoring primary can like end the game. So make that a roll. But any of the other situations where you battle shock somebody, like why is it a random roll that they pass 70% of the time? Like it doesn't make any sense. It's sort of insane. Yeah. Mr. Carnivore. He's weapon skill 2 still. Strength 10, AP 3, 3 damage. Finally an AP 3 melee weapon. Hot diggity damn. It's pretty fine. Or strength 12, AP 3, D6+2. Yeah. That's a solidly strong melee profile. The War Dog Carnivore looks amazing in melee. Move 14 too. Damn. Jesus. All right. Move 14 and you can move through walls for a CP. Yeah, carnivores are great. Unironically, this thing is an absolute slap. I love that. All right, well. All right, carnivores. Calm down, my dude. War Dog Brigands. Get Demon Breast Spears. They are Melta 4. I don't know if I'd noticed that before. So they go to D6 plus 4 damage within 12 inches at AP 4. Holy shit. All right. Whoa. Yeah, it feels like once these guys get close to you, they're just gonna crack armor like a can opener. Huntsman. Each time they target a vehicle monster, reroll wounds, reroll a wound roll of 1 and a damage roll of 1. And then you could pay SCP to reroll your hit rolls of 1 if you long leash them. They do only hit on 3s though, but that's fine. And the Huntsman is the one that has both guns. Oh no, they have the Chain Talon in melee. I'm kind of in on Huntsmen and Carnivores right now, chat. Yeah, D6 plus 2 damage, really, really strong. Carnivores look absolutely disgusting for sure. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, they love putting damage roll rerolls in here, chat. That's like the new thing this edition. Like everybody gets reroll ones on damage. I kind of like it though, right? It like it lets them do D6 damage without it being like super duper anti-spiky, right? Where you're like, well, I could roll like double ones for damage, and then my big like 150 point vehicle does nothing. Except that they're just like, well, here's some rerolls for you. At the very least, it'll probably do 4. Which is probably fine. Despoiler, I believe we saw before, right? Because it has the Master Artisan's reroll. Has a billion different gunshot profiles. Gives +1 to battle shock within 9, which is good because their leadership kind of sucks, but that's all right. I think the thermal cannons look great. You want that high AP value to punch through 2+8 vehicles. So a 2d3, d6 plus 6 damage, strength 12 gun is like solid with a floating reroll. The battle cannon's rapid fire d3 plus 3, but I think AP1 kills it. Everyone was kind of like, oh, sweet, the battle cannon's so cool, but the cover like ruins it. The fact that monsters and vehicles are always in cover basically is kind of nutso for that thing. Even the Gatling cannon might be better. So I'm liking thermal cannons for sure. And you can take double up on weapons. You could take like double thermal cannons, but I wonder if you if that gets like pricey. It might be kind of guiding you towards like battle cannon plus thermal cannon or Gatling cannon plus thermal cannon. Everyone gets the real damage except the 4 rupture cannon Tyrannifex. Yeah, I the more I play that thing, the less I like it. I don't think it's very playable, honestly. Desecrator, Laser Destructor. Now that we're looking at these like D6 plus 4 damage thermal cannon profiles, I'm less excited about the Laser Destructor. Like, D6 plus 3, 3 shots. You're like, all right, well, the other one shoots 4 shots. So, I guess lower strength though. Each time they target a monster vehicle, they get devastating wounds. Kind of spiky. Just shoot somebody for D6 plus 3 damage mortals, which is cute. And they reroll hit rolls of ones with ranged attacks. I think you kind of want reroll hits of 1 with melee. Just to buff the carnivores, but I don't know. What do the big Castellan guys do? The tyrants? Enemies that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements can't be set up within 12, so you really want to screen your backline with this guy. War dogs within 6 get the benefit of cover, so you can use him to like bulwark yourself on turn 1. But they're like in cover if they're just towed behind a building anyway, so that doesn't really matter. It's fine, I guess. If it affected other big knights, that'd be kind of sick. But, I guess it's also important to note that these guys shoot through walls too, or they shoot through obscuring because they're towering. So the big laser beam knights might actually be sweet. Just because they have like they're more often gonna have line of sight too. than the little guys. Volcano Lance is D3 shot, strength 20, AP 5, D6 plus 8. That's a little bit of a spike. Blast. All right. The Desecrator Cannon. Oh, those are the little ones on their profile. But I think you take the twin Meltaguns, right? Twin Meltagun seems good. But I guess this is twin length, strength 6. Ugh. Strength 6 AP 0 is a big nothing. And the Ectoplasma Decimator is D6 plus 3, strength 9, AP 3, 3 damage. Yeah, those profiles are fine. But I don't know if I'm like that excited about them. The big Flamer might be good. But then you have to play this like big move 8 dude and play forward to Overwatch people. And it's also AP1 but ignores cover, so that's probably fine. 3d6 strength 8, AP1 2 damage. It's like that's a good Overwatch profile, but I don't know how much you're going to be overwatching with these guys. The Warp Shock Harpoon is a meme, yeah. For sure. I think it's like super a meme. It's like very much a meme though, right? This like big slow dude trying to get 18-inch range gun shots on you. I mean, it might be fine. This aggressive edition does feel kind of aggressive for sure. I don't know if I like this guy. I think he's a little bit eggs in baskety. I think you just take the melee knights and a bunch of carnivores, or just the like thermal cannon despoiler. If you get double thermal cannon, you're 4 D3, D6 damage. They go to D6 plus 4 at 12. And that seems fine with a floating reroll. Overwatch through obscuring. Oh, I guess that is true. And you can take -1 AP on him. Do they have 2 plus save? Oh, they are 2 plus save. Yeah, maybe that is what you do. Maybe you play... Oh, he has to take the harpoon? Lame. Lame. So he's either all 18-inch range weapons or all like 60-inch range weapons. Poopy. So it's like a 2 plus save, and you can take the upgrade to reduce incoming AP by 1, and he can stand behind a building to get cover. So he's actually kind of impossible to kill. And then you can strat for a 6 plus damage ignore. So he's actually like closer to 30 wounds or whatever. Yeah. Well, like 28, 29. So they probably don't die. They're high OC value and can't be deep struck on. So maybe as just like a backline thing that never dies is like pretty okay. Yeah, he's probably never gonna die for sure. Two Geist Strike Missile Launchers and Twin Desolator Cannons can be replaced with one Geist Strike Missile Launcher and 2 Twin Desolator Cannons. Yeah, you definitely take the missiles for sure. I agree with that, chat. Yeah, a Devastating Wound. Anti-Titanic 4 plus. AP 6. D6 plus 1 damage. Fuck. Alright, yeah. Yeah, so I think I don't know. Do you play the close range dude? He seems annoying to kill, but also I think I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you play the close range guy. And you just rock him up in the middle and kill all the infantry in the world. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'll buy it. I do think like the more I think about it, the long range variety, like they just don't feel like they have real damage output. Like, this is the same gun that a Redemptor has, basically. It's just 2 more shots. You're like, all right. Well, we have, like, a cool big laser beam that probably, like, converts 1 time per game, and a Redemptor gun. Versus the close range stuff, which is, I mean, this gun's like a big meme, but the flame cannon's good, and then you're also converting your melta guns more often too. So that does seem okay. All right, I'd buy that for $1. And then you could fill the rest with, like, maybe you take 1 melee knight to, like, punish if your opponent commits in, and then the rest is like War Dog Carnivores and stuff. Yeah, seems all right. I don't dislike. Should we move to Chaos Demons, chats? Will Abaddon's unit gain all 5 of the Chaos Mark abilities when he Dark Packs? No. No, because you choose 1 mark, right? So when you add his unit to the when you add his unit to your army, you choose 1 mark for them and they get that benefit. But he can't be marked, so he doesn't get the he doesn't contribute the benefit. I don't know if he benefits from them. He probably does, right? Because the whole unit gets the mark and they considered to be the same unit. Yeah, it's a unit with one of the keywords. Oh, maybe you do. Actually, you might be right, chat. Oh, okay, so you don't choose an ability, you just choose the keyword? No, I think you might be right, actually. You select one of the keywords listed below for that unit to gain. Each time a unit with the keyword makes a dark pact, it gains the associated ability. Yeah, so I think you would actually gain all 4. Or all 5. Yeah, that is kind of nutty. Huh. Huh. That's pretty good. Yeah. That does seem pretty solid. Yeah, I thought that the ability meant that you had to choose an ability to gain, but that's certainly not how it works. It just gains the ability based on the keywords it has. So if you have multiple keywords, you gain multiple abilities. Yeah, that's awesome. Abaddon seems like a little bit of an auto include, maybe. Yeah, his big unit's gonna be sweet. All right, chat, we're on Demons. This one's I'm kind of excited for this one because I think Demons look amazing. I might play them. Especially now that we see, like, a good brace of the game. Tyranids definitely don't look very good. They maybe they're cheap, but they look a little slow and unplayable compared to the stuff that, like, Thousand Suns and Chaos Space Marines are doing. Which is, I don't know if it's on par with Space Marines, but it's certainly trying to be. So maybe Chaos Demons are good. We can do Corrupt Real Space. Which objective controls it? At the start of any command phase. So you can, let's say, like, you go first, corrupt your home objective, run to the middle of the table, and then in your opponent's turn, you corrupt a second. You corrupt, like, the middle objective. And even if they shoot you off, you hold it. That's fucking wild. I didn't notice it was your opponent's command phase too. That's insane. Draught of Terror. You get +1 AP. If you target either this battle shock, you reroll wounds against them. It's alright. +1 AP is already good. Yeah, early codex just means that they're gonna be bad in, like, 6 months. The early codex is not like, oh, I hope the codex fixes them, because the codex will make them, like, 10% better for, like, like 2 months, and then they'll be like worthless again. I actually think that, like, Tyranids might just be dead this edition, but I don't know. We'll have to see points and stuff. Warp Surge, you can advance and charge. We saw that in the preview. Denizens of the Warp. Drop 3 inches away. We saw that in the preview too. Realm of Chaos. End of your opponent's turn. You can put 2 guys into strategic reserves, and they can deep strike. Yep, pretty good. And Demonic Invulnerability. Reroll saving throws of 1. Hoping for a new old One-Eye sculpt. That would be cool. He does need something, but they'll make his base super big and he'll be like unplayable. that Death Leaper has like a huge base, which might be okay for Death Leaper because she is like a screener, so having a big base screens more table space. But it does make it harder to get into ruins, which I don't love. So we've seen Argath, King of Blades, and the Everstave. Soul Stealer is a Slanesh demon. Every time you destroy an enemy model with a ranged attack or with a melee attack, you gain 1 lost wound on a 4+. The Endless Gift is the Nurgle 1, a 5+ feel no pain, and if you're in Shadow, a 4+ feel no pain. Yeah, those were spoiled. Previously, Scarby. Let's go. Tyranids do have the best secondary game. I do agree with that, chat, but it turns out if you don't have any models left by the end of turn 2, then having the best secondary game doesn't do anything for you. Because there's like your opponent can just literally move directly forward at you, and you can't kill them. So they'll just charge you on the second turn of the game. Like they don't need to like hide behind cover or anything because none of your profiles are good enough to actually damage any of their models. But I don't know. It's early days yet. We might find some combinations that are actually possible, like have a chance to punch through enemy defensive characteristics. But you can watch. I'll be uploading some gameplay from this past weekend. That's doesn't make Tyranids look amazing so far, but we'll see. Yeah, the other like the weird thing too is that Tyranids have no internal synergy, whereas like I mean, all of these codexes we've read so far have like super cool and intricate like combinations you can build of different units that like a unit plus a leader ability plus another thing plus a stratagem, and like you build a cool like you actually have interplay within your army, and Tyranids don't have any of that, which is wild. You're like, I guess I make 2 things critical on 5s with my Hive Tyrant. We did it, but they don't have any leaders. None of their units have support abilities, so it's like okay. Anyway, Scarbrand gets gives +1 to attack for Khorne Legion demon units, excluding monsters and vehicles. No, his aura sucks. Scarbrand, no. At least it doesn't affect enemies anymore. I liked the theme of him affecting enemies, but it was actually never that good because it always made him way less survivable than you'd expect. Each time a unit was within 6 inches of this model, must take a leadership check to fall back. All right, so his auras aren't that great. But when he's damaged, he gets +2 to the attack characteristic, and he doesn't suffer a penalty to hit. Oh boy, that's fucking rad. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So he goes to 10 attacks, strength 16, AP 4, 6 damage? Fuck me, dude. Scarbrand. He also explodes for D6 mortals. Scarbrand is sick. I love this guy. I love this guy. Doesn't corrupt real space mean you can actually take an objective in your opponent controls? Well, you have to control the objective, I believe, right? Yeah. Yeah, you don't. If you're within range of an objective marker that they control, you can't use the stratagem. So it doesn't do anything. It just means that you don't lose the. If they then move on to it, you wouldn't lose it until the end of your turn. Basically, is all that means, or the beginning of your next turn. Yeah, Scarbrand making everybody good at fighting was kind of fun. I just wish that like I don't know. I wish that the problem was his defensive profile previously was not very good. And honestly, like T11 4+ save is all still not very good. So you're just like, I rolled some 6s to wound. Get fucked, Scarbrand. And he's like, yeah, I guess I take the damage. There's nothing I can do about that. I wish he was like, I don't know, got to feel no pain in melee or something. So like you had to shoot him to kill him. Because then he could make everyone better at fighting, but if they fought him, he would be more resilient to it or something. I don't know. It's fine. There's just like I have fond memories of like accidentally killing Scarbrand with like random objective secured stuff because he just randomly like doubled their damage against him because he gave them extra attacks. And demons don't have good armor saves, so like random Space Marines punching them will eventually do damage. The Bloodthirster we've seen before. The Bloodthirster looks fucking nuts. He's fast. He hits super hard with Argath. He like impact attacks at the end of the fight phase for 4 mortal wounds, which is insane. Gives +1 to hit for any Khorne Demon unit within 6 inches, including himself, so he's immune to his own bracketing rule. The Khorne Demons don't really care about taking damage. Scarbrand gets buffed significantly by it. Skulltaker gives devastating wounds to his unit. Pretty good. And you can add that to the auras from the Greater Demons, too. Each time he targets a character unit, gets full hit and wound rerolls. And when he destroys a character, you gain 1 CP. And otherwise, he's pretty good. Devastating wounds, precision, and 3 damage is a solid profile if you're rerolling. Bloodmaster. Whoa! +1 to wound when he's leading a unit. That's solid. Now, these guys can't attach in addition to anything, so it's one or the other. But +1 to wound in melee is really good. And you get 6-inch consolidation, so you can like steal objectives really well. Seems solid. Skullmaster grants devastating wounds, but only to the Blood Crushers. And it forces people to take Battle Shock, which is good because it's demons, so you get penalties and you can heal them. Or you can deal damage with it. Chat, it is almost assuredly that the damage reduction will have a clause in the FAQ document. I think that it sounds like that playtesters have said that that's how it works, and all of those rules corner cases are going to cover in a separate document. The narrative that it's like -1 damage, like rules is written, reduces to 0 is like, just wait for the fact document, dude. Just like no way it actually works that way. It's annoying that they didn't put characteristic modifier rules in the core rule books, and I'm mad that they didn't do that. But the assumption that it like works in the most degenerate way possible is just kind of silly. The Blood Throne Rendmaster selects 1 enemy unit within 18 inches invisible until the end of the phase. In the fight phase, you get +1 strength, AP, and damage. Whoa. Now, he's not a leader. He just deep strikes. And that's any Legion Demonica unit. So it also affects monsters. Or Khorne Demonica unit, excuse me. He gets reroll wounds against characters, monsters, but not vehicles, weirdly, and then regenerates wounds if he kills them. But he himself is really squishy. He's like T9 with a 4+ invuln. I guess you like deep strike this guy in, and then he points his buff on somebody, and you get +1 damage to your Bloodthirster. It's kind of cute. I don't know if the Bloodthirster needs +1 damage. It might be. You're maybe supposed to go on combo him on Bloodletters and deep strike Bloodletters on people, which also seems great, but I don't know. We did already do Chaos Knights, chat. That was the last one we did. Karanak, who is supposed to be really expensive, is what the rumors said. He's 6 attacks, strength 6 AP, 1/2 damage. Meh. At the start of the first battle round, select 1 enemy unit to be this model's prey. He gets lethal hits against them, and his unit gets a 3+ field no pen against psychic attacks. Yeah, it doesn't seem that great. He rolls advanced and charge rolls. The problem is that flesh hounds themselves just seem like a utility unit. Like buffing their offensive output seems kind of worthless. Bloodletters are just 2 attack, AP 2 damage, but the buffs go a long way. But it doesn't. This doesn't feel like enough attacks to really like be spreading to like, I don't know. You like put Skull Taker on him. He's like devastating wounds on 20 attacks that don't get rerolls. You're like, all right, well, meh. Good at just jumping on objectives though. And if you get everything together, right, you can have them be like +1 to wound, strength 6, AP 3 damage. We're getting somewhere. Blood Crushers we've seen already. They do 1 billion mortal wounds on the charge, which is cool. And they could do mortal wounds and a battle shock check if they have the Herald on the Juggernaut there. Flesh Hounds we've already seen. The Skull Cannon forces a battle shock check on somebody. It's D6 +2, strength 9, AP 1, 2 damage. Said Skull Cannon. It's a fine profile, but AP 1's a killer. If Karnak is the same cost as a Lord of Change, I'll eat my hat. Yeah, that document, the theoretically rumored points document for Chaos Demons is a little suspect for sure. Bloodletters never felt like they had enough in 9th. Yeah, they definitely felt like just an objective grabber. You just deep struck them in and stole an objective for a turn, and then they died. And they do like enough damage. They'll kill like 5 Space Marines, but otherwise it doesn't feel like that much. The Skull Altar projects a 6-inch Shadow of Chaos. That's okay, because it infiltrates also. I wonder if that's actually relevant, right? You can reroll Battle Shock for Khorne Demons within 6. That's fine. It gives cover. Yeah, Infiltrating an area of Shadow of Chaos into your army is actually, like, that might be legitimately relevant. I don't know. That could do something. Fate Weaver. We've seen this guy before. He shoots laser beams through walls, which is awesome. The Lord of Change is sick. You give this guy the Everstave, and he's strength 12. Also super sweet. The Changeling. You have to take battle shock checks to target his unit. Oh, he's a lone operative, so to target him. Weird. And if you are battle shocked, you cannot target him. The start of your opponent's shooting phase, select one enemy within 12, invisible. It gets -1 to hit if it passes the check. But then it can shoot him, so I don't know. His gun is fine, I guess. D6 +3, strength 6, AP1, D3 damage. Yeah. -1 to hit within 12. Like maybe you just deep strike him in and hope for the best. And just like cross your fingers that a battle shock check at -1 will make him untargetable. The Fate Skimmer's back. He gets lethal. He grants lethal hits in melee. Okay. All right. Get those sweet weapon skill 4 melee attacks going. Let's go. All right. Once per battle, you can place his unit into strategic reserve, and his gun is kind of bad. Yeah, no, not in on the Fate Scammer, unfortunately. Fluxmaster gives his whole unit -1 to be hit. Now we're talking. And once per battle round, you can change the result of a hit, wound, or saving throw made for this model to a 6, which you can use on his little fireball, which is kind of cute. Blue Scribes, another lone operative. Enemy units within 12 get -1 to wound with psychic attacks. Okay. And they shoot... They mortal wound everybody within 6 inches at the end of your movement phase. They are 12-inch movement, but... Yeah, that also seems not that great. They poke you with their quills. Anti-Psyker 2 plus. Boop. Yeah. I guess they like mess with enemy psychic armies. Like, get wrecked, Grey Knights. Get wrecked, everybody with psychic attacks. If you're Psyker keyworded and your attacks are Psyker keyword are psychic keyworded, get fucked. There's only defensive technology for it. But that doesn't seem like it seems kind of unplayable. I don't know. Very bad. Like their profile's not even that good for a lone operative. T4, 4+ invul and 6 wounds, they just die as soon as they get close. I don't know. They're like one bomb of mortal wounds takes like 5, does like 5 mortal wounds and then explodes across like 3 different units. Yeah, whatever. The blood getters getting reroll to wounds on objectives. Yeah, that's. I mean, given the fact that they're meant to charge onto objectives, it does feel like that's going to be fine. Especially if you have the all of their buffs buff their damage, so they don't have any accuracy buffs, which is weird. But they'll certainly kill. Like they'll certainly do a number on people. I don't think they're bad. I think you just take a couple and then deep strike them for sure. And they get +1 to charge too with the instrument. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just not like they're not like a powerhouse. I guess is like what people are trying to say. Not that's necessarily that they need to be. Hey, blue horrors are still around. OC1. They turn into brimstones. They give people -1 leadership. And you can explode brimstones into mortals in the fight phase. That's cute. Pink horrors do the same thing, but their brimstones don't explode. Weird. Okay. They're like, their brimstone horrors just do different things. All right. Flamers, we've already seen. They can fall back and shoot. These guys we've already seen. They let you assault and shoot, which is good. And give you -2 movement. Screamers we've seen. They just do mortal wounds with bombing. And we're on to the Great Unclean Ones. Let's go. Should the -1 leadership be +1 to make it harder to pass? On the blue hard datasheet? I think it's -1. Let's look. It's -2 leadership checks, right? Oh, it's subtract 1 from the enemy unit's leadership characteristic? Yeah, I guess that would make them better at Picards do use the blue HARS datasheet. Oh, do they? Oh, that's okay. That's weird. What a bizarre rule. All right, fair enough. Yeah, so I think this should say enemy units suffer -1 to leadership tests. But subtracting 1 from their leadership value, I think you're right, chat. Would make them better at passing leadership checks. Oh, these infiltrate too. Blues are actually sweet. Yeah, blue. You might just play blues over pinks, basically, like permanently. Pinks seem like whatever. Their guns are always like not very good. And so they're just there for utility, so you might as well just play blues because they'll be cheaper and they infiltrate. It depends on the points value, I guess. But that is weird. Typo. We can put that in the document. Rodigus. Start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches invisible. At the end of the phase, each time an attack made by a Nurgle demon unit is allocated to that model. Add +1 damage. Okay, that's solid. Including himself, so he's just +1 damage in melee. So all of his weapons should be hit one harder. And he has objective control characteristic of enemies. T12, 22 wounds. No feel, no pain. But he can be 7 attack strength, 8 AP 3, 3 damage, or 14 strength 7 AP 1, 2 damage. Yeah. And the flamer doesn't get the +1 damage because that's start of fight phase. I don't know, Rodigus. He kind of hits like a wet noodle. That is not a good melee profile. Or at least it's not a good strength value. The AP and damage is good, but the strength sucks. And I guess that's just the case for all the Guos. So these guys are T12, 20 wounds, and at least he can have the 4+ feel no pain. So the regular Guo is actually pretty sick. And I guess he grants Rodigus a 6+ feel no pain, so that's something at least. And he reduces enemy toughness characteristic at the end of your movement phase. I feel like you staple them together. You definitely play the regular Guo over Rodigus, but then Rodigus can buff the other Guo's melee attacks. How long does this thing work? Until the end of the phase. So he can't buff your ranged attacks, unfortunately. Playing bolt gun, the blues are sneaky. The thing I hate about the blues is that like the brimstones explode on you in that game if you kill them in melee. So like the blue horrors are always like, I don't know. I get way more scared of them than I do any of the other enemies, despite the fact they don't really do that much damage. Because I always want to shoot, like I want to run away and shoot them. So I always like panic because I never want to fight them in melee because I'll run into the brimstone horrors. I was just playing that game the other day. It was pretty fun. I was running through again. I played through. There's a mission where there's an arena where like the floor is lava and it keeps rising, and you have to like go up this big spiral area. It's pretty fun. There's like a lot of interesting traversal. Reverberating summons that just returns plague bearers to units when you kill them. We've seen the Guo before. So that's not a new data sheet for us. The Poxbringer gives critical hits on a 5+, and he joins Plague Bearers. So he is giving them lethal on a 5, which is all right. And gives enemies -1 to battle shock tests within 6. Of his model, which is kind of a narrow use case. This guy gives sustain 1 and +1 objective control, which is very good because you really want the plague bearers to be holding objectives. Epidemius grants a 4+ invulnerable save. Damn, okay. And he gains you CP if you kill 7 enemies with Nurgle demons. It's really good against what's the word? Enemy like hordes. Less good against big stuff though. I think he's probably a little bit narrow. Although, I mean, like giving a 4+ invulnerable save to a unit that you're trying to like just stand and be annoying to kill on an objective is actually pretty good. I do kind of wish that you could add multiple characters to a single Plague Bearer unit, because it does feel like the Plague Bearer characters all want to like stack up together. There's like one of them, half of them have battle shock effects, right? And then half of them are survivability effects, but you can't ever add any of them together, so you can't like combo them. It feels like anti-synergy. Inky's here. Yeah, that's like most of the leaders that benefit from getting added to units lose their benefits if the unit dies, which is a little bit strange. Slimux joins Beast of Nurgle units. Gives them heroic intervention for 0. And he makes area terrain Shadow of Chaos. Whatever. He's good in melee. 6 attacks for 3 damage is like fine. Could go to 4 damage with Rodriguez. Let's go. Yeah, I guess he's like just a beat stick. He's good against like medium infantry. Like that dude will kill a bunch of Gravis armored dudes like real easy. Plague Bearers, we've talked about them. They have objectives secured and are hard to kill. Nurglings infiltrate, but OC 0. But they give -1 to hit for melee within 6, but not all attacks, just melee. So you can just shoot them just fine. Yeah. Sorry, Nurglings, you're blue horrors now. Just get turned into blue horrors. Also doesn't work on monsters and vehicles. Whatever. Bonbons. At the end of each phase, regenerate to fall. Yeah. Much better than the new spawn mechanic, but they're just basically identical to how they were, right? 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, devastating wounds, so their 6s are mortals. 5+ invulnerable, 7 wounds. No heroic intervention, though. Oh, and there's only 2. Only 2 per unit, not 3. Ugh. That's sad. Plague drones. Oh, here's where you get damage out of the Nurgle subfaction chat. In your shooting phase after it's shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of the attacks until the end of the turn. When a Nurgle unit makes an attack that targets that unit, reroll the wound roll. So you but the ranged weapons blast. Inky, why have they done this? So what you want to do is like run onto an objective and then force your opponent into you and then dump all your debuffs on them and kill them. But if they engage your Guos, you can't shoot into melee. So you're just like, fuck me, I guess. But theoretically, I guess what you want to do is dump full like wound rerolls on somebody and then -1 toughness and +1 damage, and then like Guo, Rodriguez integrated clean one, just beat the crap out of them. That's the hope. But it does feel like it's a little bit clunky. Plus, they're only D3 shots hitting on 4s. You should get 1 hit, right? But it's a little bit dicey. There's a potential that you miss. Yeah, I wish this weapon was easier to use, but I see what they're doing. I'm seeing what they're trying to make happen here. It definitely feels like just like that last edition, whereas like Khorne and Tzeentch you can just like sort of slot into armies. Nurgle wants to be a whole army by itself and have a bunch of interlocking synergies, which is always a little bit funky in this faction. Most of the mounted units in the game have OC2 chat, so that's not that surprising, to be honest. It's only really shocking on like the OC2 base infantry is the surprising part. But you can get Plague Bearers to OC3, so you're not like hurting for objective control. The Gnarlmaw gets stealth within 6. And then that's it. Okay. Cool. It grants cover. You can get your Bloodthirsters to a 3+ save. Moving to Slanesh, Shalaxi. Gives somebody -1 damage. And rerolls charges and melee attacks against monsters, vehicles, and characters. And they are strength 14 on the spear, AP3, D3 plus D6 plus 2 damage. And strength 6, AP2, 3 damage on the claws. With probably full rerolls. Okay, Shalaxi. Okay, calm down. I understand. Shalaxi seems nuts. This is just a really good profile. I don't know. That's just like, that's just really, really good. You don't benefit from cover, but the opponent does. I mean, only if you're shooting at them. But like, you're probably not, honestly. Like the only ranged attacks in Nurgle is like fucking 8 inches or whatever. So, you probably are just pointing your face around the tree. I don't think that really matters so much. The Keeper of Secrets we've already seen. Now I've seen Shalaxi Hellbane. I'm not really sure you play a regular Keeper of Secrets. This seems really good. I don't know. Also, what is this melee profile? How come this faction gets AP3 D6 plus 2 damage? I'm here stuck with like AP2 3 damage. Infernal and Rapturous returns D3 destroyed bodyguard models to its unit and makes enemy psychers hazardous. Whatever. It does shoot a las cannon though, 24 inches. Hell yeah. Mask of Slanesh. Select one enemy within 6 inches until the end of the phase. You get +1 to wound against it, and it gets -1 to wound. Jesus. Yeah. You just slot that one into the Rodigus and Guo list chat. You just Mask of Slash given the -1 to be wounded. Let's go. Celeste gives critical wounds on a 5+. And it regenerates. The melee attacks are okay. Shalaxi with a 5+ is tougher than Roddy. Yeah, I think Roddy gets like you're supposed to be getting the 6+ from the other Great Unclean one. We've seen the Contorted Epitome. We've seen the Torment Bringer. Transfever gets fight first. Solid. Already good. End of your movement phase. Select one enemy that is battle shocked and within 12. Yeah, whatever. You might be battle shocked, but who knows if you are. Demonettes get devastating wounds. Who gives them? Do they get devastating on 5s with who is it? Celeste? Yeah, so they get devastating on 5s with Celeste, but they don't have wound rerolls, they have hit rerolls. So I guess they're like kind of self-sufficient. Because they're pretty good against infantry on objectives. Move 9 is also solid, and you can advance and charge for a CP as well. And take the instrument for it +1 to advance and charge. Fiend's Force -1 to hit and +1 on desperate escape checks. You have 5 2 damage devastating wounds. Strength characters kind of sucks though. But I guess you're Yeah, you're trying to push like reroll wounds on somebody with the psychic power, but yeah. The Seeker Chariot doesn't join anyone. Gets anti-infantry 4+ on a charge with 13 attacks and devastating wounds. Yeah, so they like cleave for 1 billion mortal wounds onto infantry when they charge. Seems like the game plan. That's pretty good against infantry, but I don't know if you need that much infantry clear in this list, in this faction. You have like so many random flamers and stuff. I guess like I mean tough infantry, like they run into terminators and they just plow them for like 4 mortal wounds. Do you need that though? Because I don't know if those terminators are surviving like 3 damage bloodthirster. So it might just be fine. And then we're in Undivided. Bellicor we've already seen. I think we've already seen all of these. We haven't seen the Winged Demon Prince. It has the same ability that the Primaris Captain has. Once per game, it gets a +3 to its attacks. Okay. So it goes to 9 attacks, and you can be Corn keyworded for Strength 10, AP 3, 2 damage. And each time it's selected to fight, it gets precision, lethal hits, or sustained 1. So it it just has Epic Duel built in. I guess you could Epic Duel to get like lethal hits and precision. But if you don't need to, you don't need to. But it loses the stealth aura, and I kind of feel like the stealth aura is like low key while you're taking these guys. So it feels like the Foot Demon Prince is the way to go. I don't know, but could go either way probably. What do Seekers do? Oh, are we? They get reroll, advance, and charge rolls, and they scout. They just scout basically. They have a kind of a lot of attacks. I guess they have 5. Strength 4, AP 0 is basically not an attack though. Kind of leave that one at home. Mostly like objective stuff. I think is what the scouts or what the Seekers do. So I guess I'm like less impressed by demons than I thought I would be. I like the graders. I mean, the graders seem great. It sort of goes without saying. It does feel like you can windmill slam like just a bunch of greater demons. You're like Bellicor, Shilaxi, Lord of Change, Kairos, Bloodthirster, and then like you probably have like 500 points to play with like objective holding guys, and you just make your entire army unshootable on turn 1, and then you like I don't know blast people with the Lord of Change and Kairos and teleport in the Bloodthirster if you need it in Shadow of Chaos. You like demonic manifest that in the middle of the table next to Bellicor. And I don't know if there's much that like punch through that front line. Those 3 greater demons feel like they kind of dominate the middle of the table. But as soon as your opponent is within 18 inches, it does feel like Bellicor is going to fall apart. And I'm a little bit worried about Space Marines just because they can Devastator Doctrine on turn 1 and then just run into within 18 inches of you. Or maybe turn 2. You can maybe play around it on the first turn and deploy back a little far. Because at least your threat range is also really long. Because Shilaxi can like move 14, advance, and charge. So like realistically, they charge like 22. So they're theoretically out of the turn 1 threat range, but can threaten past the midboard. Do you run into issues with the epic hero rolls? No. You just don't get any like the only enhancements you're buying are for the Bloodthirster and the Lord of Change. So otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's no issue there. The Shalaxi and Be'lakor can't take the enhancements anyway, so it doesn't really matter. What do we think, chat? What's the best one? I'm thinking... I think it might be Chaos Space Marines, honestly. Chaos Space Marines do look kind of nutso. And I think from there it's Thousand Suns, and then Demons, World Eaters, Death Guard. Knights are... I don't know about Knights. Knights feel tough to judge. Knights feel very points dependent because it, like, varies dramatically. If you're a couple points off on any of the other units, you're like, well, I take one less objective holder, or I take, like, a couple less infantry or some less heavy weapons or whatever. But Chaos Knights are like, well, if our points are 10% less, we get 2 extra war dogs. You're like, oh my god. So Knights feel kind of like you have to see how many war dogs you can squeeze into an army. But their profiles are insane. Like, war dog carnivores are nutso. Even the ones that get rerolls against vehicles seem really, really good too. Like, anything that can spam Melta and carnivore melee attacks is like, So I'd put Chaos Knights... I guess you could realistically put Chaos Knights in the middle. It kind of feels like CSM, Thousand Suns, Chaos Knights, Chaos Demons, World Eaters, Death Guard would be my power ranking. Yeah. Yeah, Death Guard do feel... Yeah, definitely at the bottom. I was hoping that there would be, like, some sweet synergy that we hadn't been seeing yet, and they just didn't. They're just not there. I do think that there's the potential that if Death Guard are, like, super cheap, you know, there's, like, always the caveat, like, maybe points. If Death Guard are, like, ludicrously cheap, then I think you can, like, spam... You can maybe spam, like, Plague Marines and Rhinos to victory or something. But you need... it. They wanted to create this like faction identity for Nurgle where they have like tons of synergies, but all their synergies are based off characters that join their units. And for Plague Bearers, it like doesn't work. They just fucked it up because you can't add more than one character to the Plague Bearer units, and the Plague Bearer units are really small. So, like, I think you're supposed to take like a bunch of Plague Bearer units, and each individually has a different character in them, but that means you can't stack up any of the benefits. Death Guard can stack up the benefits, but if the Plague Marines are too expensive, then you only get a couple units, and you're not benefiting that many of them. But if you can take a ton of Plague Marines that have a ton of the fetid Virian characters in them, then I think they may be okay. But I don't think it's great. I think it's just playable. So I don't know. Demon Infantry needs to be in it to 20. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't feel like light infantry feels kind of dead on arrival in this edition. You might be right that, like, because they're not units of 20, their attack volume is too low to really do damage, but even then, like, you could be a unit of 20 and then you just get overwatched and die. So I think Demon Infantry was kind of dead from the outset, just based on how the profiles in 10th edition have, like, rolled out. So I don't know. It does feel like the Nurgle stuff needs a little bit of work. I don't know why they keep messing up Nurgle so much. Maybe they're just worried about it being too uninteractive, and they like keep downscaling it. Who knows? Anyway, chat, I think we're going to call it there. I will be live tomorrow doing the same thing. We're going to talk about what's on the docket? Xenos tomorrow, and then Imperium on Thursday. So that'll be exciting. Otherwise, I think the next video I'm going to have out is going to talk about terrain and cover. I don't know if I'll do any, like, videos for these releases, just because there's so much. I don't have too much to say without there being points and stuff. So I'll probably do a couple videos later this week on some core rules that need discussing, that merit discussion, I think. So you can check those out. And also, I'll also be uploading my VODs for the 10th edition games that I played. And I might be trying to get some more 10th edition games in the future. Should be like 7 tomorrow. Yeah, if it's like all the Eldar sub-factions. So that's at least 3, Tau, Orcs, Votan, Necrons. So 7. Sounds right. Cool. Anyway, cheers, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.